faster, and Florence Giroux shakes up Gunrunner, a 2-length lead. Now it's a 3-length lead. Gunrunner by the 8th pole. Stanford battles on. Breaking Lucky does too with honorable duty, and Hawakam down inside, but there's 100 yards left, and Gunrunner with gusto in the Stephen Foster wins for fun.
It's Whitney week at Saratoga. Gunrunner drew post 6 in the post position draw on Tuesday night. He's a 4-5 morning line favorite. We'll have the latest on how he is doing and what Steve Asmussen thinks about what is coming up. Of course, his main competition, Keen Ice, whose best moment came when he knocked off the Triple Crown champ, American Pharoah. Can he do it again here at Saratoga? And today's feature, Carina Mia, one of 2 sent out by trainer Chad Brown. He takes over the training duties of the Grade 1 winner. He also has Going for Broke, who will try to win again at the track, where she has a first and a second in 2 career starts. She makes her 4-year-old debut coming up. Show presented by Claiborne Farm, 100 years, doing the usual unusually well as we get set for week 3 action here of the summer place to be here at the spa at Saratoga. Another great crowd on hand on this Wednesday afternoon. Greg Wolf alongside former New York Met and Los Angeles Dodger catcher Paul LaDuca. The shine again is our feature. Carina Mia coming out of 7 consecutive Grade 1 races. She used to be with Hall of Famer Bill Mott. Now she moves to Chad Brown. She'll make his debut for his barn this afternoon.
Off of freshening, right? And who's she been chasing around the racetrack for those 7 Grade 1s? A couple times Songberg, make that 3 times. And Paula's silver lining, and we saw her brilliance over this racetrack. Carina Mia is a Grade 1 winner herself. And you can argue maybe her best day was in the ballerina when she did lose, but she lost the Songbird. But I thought she gave her best shot, in the cotillion at Parks. But the one to beat today, this is a huge drop in class, but there's some sharp fillies coming into that race.
That is our feature race coming up. Of course, Chad Brown also with Going for Broke. We'll bring in Andy Serling, our New York Racing Association handicapper and racing analyst. Gabby Gaudet as well. And Carina Mia, Andy, you make the argument one of her best performances ever came at 7 furlongs.
Well, I would say, maybe the Acorn a mile, but she can run well in these one-turn races. She's run well at 7 furlongs, as Paul was mentioning in the ballerina last year. I think she's an hour and a half the worst to beat, Gabby.
She definitely is. Just from a class perspective, Andy, as Paul was alluding to, she's faced the likes of Songbird several times. Well, take a look at the Acorn, and it's funny because going into the Acorn, Andy, we had never really seen her rate other than in the 8 bells when she got off to a poor start. But they went into the Acorn this day with the presence of a lot of speed to take her back off of the pace, and that really just showcased her versatility that day.
Yeah, she is versatile, especially though, I think she showed that speed early in her career. Bill Mott got her to relax. They're going to want to have her at least within range today, but the biggest difference between today and days in the past, we've seen a very fair main track, and that's going to work in her favor. I think it'll take a circumstance for her not to win this race. Not that there aren't some good horses in here, as they alluded to, but none of them have the quality of Carina Mia if she runs her race.
The race has been changed with some very important scratches in terms of the pace scenario, but as we said, she's tactical. She won't be too far off the pace. She's very quick.
But I agree. A horse like Mamma Mia Maria was certainly helped by the scratches.
Yeah, those scratches. Discreet Senorita out. Clip the Coupon Annie out as well. As you take a look at the track conditions, brought to you by John Deere. Main track fast. Turf condition is firm for today's action. You're joining us just in time for the start of the late pick 4 sequence. Mile 16th on the turf. Chad Brown should have a big say in this first leg, Paul.
Yeah, both of these horses getting bet in here. The 7 for Chad Brown and the 11 Startup Nation. Startup Nation put the blinkers on 2 starts ago and has gotten a little bit better, and he's going to be the one to beat in all these turf races, so 3 turf races in this sequence.
Yeah, the 8th, a mile and 3/8 over the inner turf, which seems wide open, and then the nightcap, 5.5 furlongs on the turf. 2-year-old maidens, that one is a puzzler to cap it all off and finish things off here in this anchor leg. You can get signed up and started. Play along from home by going to NYRABets.com. If you bet 200, you get 200 in your account. Use the promo code PICK5 to take advantage. And again, you can get down in this pick 4 that we have coming up. It can also, with Naira Bets, play that Naira Bets late pick 5. The first leg has already happened. It was back in race 6. In case you missed it, we're going to show you what happened. That late pick 5 began with a maiden special weight, 7 furlongs. And it was Harkness for trainer Bill Mott, bringing in a horse here from Churchill that steps up.
Yeah, a horse from Off the Pace by Harlan's Holiday. Does that ring a bell? Good Samaritan. But I mean, Mr. Mott gets the job done here with Irad Ortiz Jr. You're going to get a little bit of a price to start off this NYRA Pick 5, late Pick 5. If you were happening to get down early for the early Pick 5, it paid $19,000, ending with the daughter of Harlan's Holiday, who got the job done nicely in race number 6 today.
Yeah, breaks her maiden career start, number 9, and you get $14.80 to kick things off here in this NYRA Bets late Pick 5. So one leg in, that is where we stand. Of course, the NYRA Bets late Pick 5 has increased the daily single winning ticket payout to $150,000 if you're the only winner. On Saturdays, if you are the only winner, $300,000. That includes Whitney Day this Saturday. The only way to play this wager if you do not reside in the state of New York is to get signed up and started with NYRA Bets. But of course, to be eligible for that guarantee to the single winner payout, you must play through NYRA Bets.
We want to thank you. You're the one that pushed us. I mean, it got such great reviews in the pools, carried over twice. I said that earlier. 2 weeks, a 50-cent increment bet carried over twice. You forced us to raise the limits, and I love it.
All right, race 7. This will kick off this late Pick 4, mile and 16th on the turf. A New York-bred allowance optional claiming field. And with more, let's check in with the 5th member of our team on this Wednesday afternoon, Maggie Wolfendale.
Checking in with your current favorite, Navision Sky, who comes off his lone turf start, which was a win. He's a horse who does have the propensity to be a bit wound up overall. Today, though, oddly at Saratoga, where there's more going on than at Belmont Park, he's much more calm, much more reserved. Maybe things are a little bit more professional in regards to Navision Sky, and the fact that maybe he likes this surface. He doesn't have to get nervous about what he's about to do. So he is a horse, I think, that is finding a new life here on the turf. But this is his first time against horses who have won multiple races, and I do feel the waters are far deeper. Next, we'll check in with number 5. That is Iron Power for Linda Rice, who will take over training from trainer Mike Hushin, who we continue to wish the best in retirement. Sure, he's having fun enjoying Saratoga, but this is a horse who's just aggressively spotted in here. He's faced better. He's been in tougher spots. Once again, and I'm saying this throughout 2017, he's looked great. He looks fantastic here once again, but I just feel as though he's in a more desirable position here in this race than he's been in any of his other starts in the earlier half of 2017. Next, we'll move on to one first off the claim here for trainer David Canizzo. That's number 6, West Hills Giant. He looks really good. This is the best I've seen this horse look in a long time. His coat's turned around. He's got a lot more energy than what I've seen from him in the past. And Dave is kind of crafty when he claims horses and puts them back on the turf. This horse is 30% as far as his turf starts are concerned. I like him here. I think he's kind of breathing new life into this runner, and hopefully he'll be a decent price here. I know somebody else who likes a number 6, West Hills Giant. That's the other lady on this show, Gabby Godet.
It's an interesting Pick 4 sequence here, and I'm actually going to put in a small ticket here using the 7, 10, 11, and Gabby and I'll get to these horses in a second. 7, 10, 11, spreading in the second leg with the 4, 5, 7, and 9, singling Carina Mia using 7, 9, 10 the last leg. Chad Brown, as usual, is very strong in these races. I'm surprised, though. I think Startup Nation should be the shorter price, Gabby. You know he can handle a distance, and he started to show some of that form that's eluded him since his 3-year-old year. Can he put together back-to-back races?
I like him of the 2 Chad Brown runners best. You go back to his races last season, Andy, and especially 2 starts back. That was his last race before the layoff. He was a horse that was coming down the stretch, and he was lugging in pretty badly. He wasn't staying a straight course, and he had done that several times in the past. Last time out, off of the layoff, I thought it was an incredibly impressive performance. Not only did we see him kind of lasso that pace setter in there, and he was the only one too close. He was first. That was his first start as a gelding, so it looks like he's going to keep on taking those professional steps forward.
Well, we'll see. You know, he's a 5-year-old now. He was very good as a 3-year-old, but obviously issues have pretty much kept him off the track. He almost caught Black Tide, we saw winning the show the other day, wrapped to his 3rd with a smidgen of trouble, came back to beat Lesser. Now, the other Chad Brown runner, Navision Sky, in some ways he's a terrible bet in this race, and he's definitely a terrible bet at 2-1 in a field like this, win or lose. He got a very fast pace last time against inferior horses going one turn, 7 furlongs. He now has to stretch out to 2 turns, stretch out in distance, and do it against better horses. Now, maybe the light went on the turf, and he's going to be a very good turf horse, and it's possible. But this is a very different scenario than the one he faced last time, Gabby.
To me, Andy, especially at the price, it seems like a little bit of a trap, because going back and watching that performance, it did look like an illusion. You mentioned the hot pace that was in front of him, the fact that it collapsed in front of him. How often do we see horses that love to be covered up and the pace falls apart in front of them and it looks like they explode down the stretch? I took the approach of just tossing him in here.
Yeah, I'm not going to toss him. I think that could be a mistake, but in a multi-race bet. But I can understand why you bet against him. I can respect that. Now, I'm taking a small shot, and he's kind of a shot horse. I know he's got talent, but the 10 Cliffs of Dover's never run fast enough to win this race. But last time out at Aqueduct in November, and he may be a horse that likes that Aqueduct turf course late in the season, he broke slowly. He was dead last early. He circled 4 wide the whole way in the first turn. We'll show some of this race, and we'll show it around the turn. You'll see him. He's the 11 horse in here, and we'll talk through. He throws his head at the start. And when you see them settle, you'll see he's 2.5, 3 lengths behind. Takes him a minute to get himself into position. Joel Rosario does what I think was the right thing. He said, well, I can put him back in last. He's going to get ranked. He's going to do nothing. Or I could just let him have his head. And you're going to see him in the next 45 seconds make a move all the way to lead. He ends up going to lead and opening it up and not collapsing until the very late stages, which is remarkable when you consider the amount of work he had to do early. And the horse that beat him would be short priced in this race. Gabby, I have to take a flyer on him.
I can't blame you. The biggest question for him is how he will perform off of the layoff, right? We haven't seen him since late November, so he's got that too. You have to consider that. But he's a horse that has a little bit of speed, and I agree with you with this last performance. I thought Joel Rosario did everything right. It was a very fluid move to go to the front end, but he might still be a horse that prefers to have a target at the end of the day, and he's going to get that with other pace presence in here.
We're going to head back upstairs, but when we get back, I know Gabby wants to tell us why she's going to get West Hill's Giant home in the winner's circle.
Yeah.
It's been a long time between drinks for him, right, guys?
Well, that's a 20-1 shot that we can't wait to hear that argument. By the way, just real quick to wrap up on Cliffs of Dover, the 10, who Andy was talking about. That race he showed us, top 2 finishers out of there both came back to win. Wicked Freud won an open allowance, and Mark My Style, who finished second in there, won an allowance optional 62 race off a 5-month layoff. So he did that against 2 horses that are pretty good.
Yeah, and I found the horse too. I do. And the horse got a nice win on the racetrack. You see my ticket, and Andy's very similar here. I'm going to use the 3 in the last race instead of the other horse that Andy used. We're going to single Carina Mia. And is it a normal single? I think that's going to happen around the racetrack. You take a chance of beating her, try to beat her. But I'm 5, 7, 8, 10, 11. 4, 5, 7, 8. I thought the 3 in the last race could be a little bit sneaky. A first-time starter, a filly by Data Link. And maybe we're all not using the right horse. The horse that ran, the 5, for Tommy Morley and Javier Castellano, who won the last on Monday with a lifetime maiden, 0 for 14. So that could be the horse to catch.
Yeah, race full of inexperience. At least that horse has done it once in the afternoon. That is a puzzler, certainly, to close things out as you see that late pick 4 pool closing in on $300,000. Everyone enjoying this Wednesday afternoon. There's never a bad day at Saratoga.
There really is. And we had a little drizzle come in, a little coolness come in. It was a little hot out here earlier, but yeah, so much to do. You name it, they've got it here at Saratoga.
Our post parade coming up here in just a little bit. There is that 20-1 shot just left our screen there. West Hill's Giant, well, 19-1 on the board right now, but a horse, the 6, who's already proven he loves this Saratoga turf course.
I think that's where Gabby would be going. Good wins over the turf course here. 3 lifetime wins on the turf.
Post parade coming up. Again, it starts the late pick 4, mile and a 16th on the turf. New York bred allowance optional claiming field. We will begin with a horse that I like a little bit here on the inside, Uncle Si. Dylan Davis will be aboard the 1 here for trainer David Duggan. And a horse who has a whole lot of seconds. 9 times he has been second in 20 career starts.
Yeah, off the claim last time out for David Duggan. He took the blinkers off, and he ran a bang-up race. Now going to try to stretch out.
11-1 on Uncle Si. The 2 horse, Mr. Harlan, trained by Linda Rice, and I don't think you can even argue the hottest turf rider on the grounds right now is Jose Lezcano.
He is on fire. He's got about 3 or 4 wins, and Linda Rice is on fire. This is a horse that ran an even race but had some trouble, sort of blind switch last time.
Leave him at the gate is the 3 Junior Alvarado for Leah Giramati.
Nice win 2 back, but it needs to step it up today at 22-1.
Tom Morley trains the 4, Birchwood Road. John Velasquez aboard.
You know, this horse could be a pace factor. I looked at this horse as a decent little long shot at the price and does have a win here at Saratoga.
Iron Power, the 5 in here for Linda Rice. Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard. It's faced a lot tougher.
Yeah, he has, or she has, but she's 0 for 8, or 0 for 7 the last 2 years, so he's going to have to step it up a little bit.
West Hills Giant. Here's the long shot Gabby likes for David Canizzo off the claim.
Hot in the claim box 3 times in a row, 4 for 42 lifetime.
19-1 on West Hills Giant. The 7, 1 of 2 for Chad Brown. Nevesian Sky. He tried the turf for the first time last start, and he won by 4 1/4 lengths.
It was a dominating performance. You now got to figure out if he's for real now because it wasn't much last time.
New York Song is the 8. Rick Violet trainee with Florent Giroux, and back-to-back wins on the turf.
Now going to stretch out. Really tough for me to throw out a horse that's undefeated on the surface. Now looking for 3 wins in a row over the turf.
Here is Spin Cycle. Manny Franco for trainer John Kibble. He was very good last year at Belmont. He struggled coming back.
Yeah, the last 2 starts are just unexplainable and tough to play back here at 33-1.
Andy's long shot play, the 10, Cliffs of Dover, making his 5-year-old debut for Thomas Bush.
This poor horse keeps getting outside slots, but the blinkers have completely helped. This is a live long shot.
And the 11, Startup Nation, a 2013 Fasig-Tipton New York bred sales graduate, the Chad Brown runner with Javier Castellano.
Has eaten up a little bit of money, got out of some good company, went into state bred company, and still hasn't gotten it done almost last time when the blinkers were added.
Yeah, I just like the fact, too, that race was at a mile. It was off the layoff, and now he gets the extra 16th. The 12, Dream Dancer, Angel Arroyo for Tim Woolley.
This horse looked home last time, about a length and a half clear in the stretch, and got ripped, and got ripped pretty easy at the wire.
That is your field for race 7. It kicks off this late pick 4 pool up and over $340,000. Still to come as part of the sequence, of course, race 8, mile 3/8 on the turf. Homeland Security, another Chad Brown runner coming off a maiden score. As he goes up against Church Social, much more experienced runner for Shug McGahee.
The graded stakes winning son of Bernardini is off to a sensational start at stud. Among the leading freshman sires by winners in graded stakes horses, his first crop 2-year-olds commanded prices up to 36 times his stud fee. Leading progeny include TD and Rising Star Recruiting Ready, second in the Bashford Manor Stakes, and stakes place performer Junket. The pedigree, speed, and class to become the next star in this sensational sire line. Algorithms at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at nyrabets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on nyrabets.com right in the bet type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Back on Saratoga Live on MSG Plus in Fox Sports 2. Thanks for spending part of your Wednesday afternoon with us. Want to remind everyone about the Saratoga Showdown. If you're new to horse racing and want to get involved in playing and not risk any of your own money, it's a great way to do it. A free online game. It continues today, allowing fans to play against each other with a mythical bankroll and get introduced to wagering and a chance to win a 2018 Belmont Stakes prize package valued at $2,000. Today's game win, place, and show contest. I have entered.
Okay.
Most of us have here on air, playing against everybody else. But a great way to learn how to make some picks without risking any of your own money and get in on the sport.
Yeah, it is. It's a great way to learn the template, too, and just go to NYRA.com and get all the details. It's a fun way. Listen, everybody plays it, and you can get some prizes at the end.
All right, we've been waiting to hear why Gabby loves this long shot in here. 19-1 on West Hills Giant. Make your case, Gabby.
I guess you guys are setting me up for a little bit of failure here, but why
no
not?
Failure
we're gonna go.
at 20 to 1,
we're gonna
Gab.
go with a 19-1 shot here, and. First of all, you look at a horse like this, Andy. He's 4 for 42 lifetime. It's very infrequent that he finds the winner's circle. But then you go to his turf performances, and 3 out of his 4 lifetime victories have been on the turf. And this horse hasn't been on the turf in years. I don't know what took so long for them to get back to it today.
And some of it may be that he races sometimes in the winter months, but I don't disagree. And I think he's probably been entered a couple times, has gotten rained off. But I think your thinking is sound. Listen, he's a huge price.
He's a big price.
It's not like you're telling us he can't lose. He's just an interesting horse at a big price.
He's got speed. He's shown speed on the main track, and it's not like he's out of form on the main track either. He's actually running pretty decent races as he was running on the dirt when he was still performing on the turf. So this is a horse who's actually showed up against New York Bred Stakes Company. He broke his maiden on the turf. I'm interested in him because he'll have speed. He's a big price, and he's got ability on the turf.
And he has an aggressive rider, and his trainer, Dave Canizzo, he'll tell you. He's the smartest guy out there, guys.
I like it. I like the play. I mean, she's coming with the play basically saying, listen, got 1 dirt win, 3 for 10. And Andy's right. You never want to talk somebody off a 20-1 shot because I think the 4 cutting back in distance is the long shot in here that might be rolling late.
All right, with more on the field as they get set to load here in just a little bit, let's go to Maggie.
Taking a look at the likely favorite, and here a horse who is deservingly so, but it's been a while since he's won races. That's number 11, Startup Nation in here, and to me, he's just one of the most surliest horses I've ever observed in the paddock. He kind of has that indignant look on his face oftentimes when they put the blinkers on, just ears flat back. I don't really want to do this. Most times. Actually today he's a little more, little being an operative word, into it. Maybe today will be the day, as he was fairly close, just denied by a nose by Black Tide, who is in tremendous form for trainer Dave Canizzo, as we saw win here last Sunday. So yeah, he makes sense here, but people still gravitating to Chad's other horse, who's a slight favorite with Nevisian Sky. Next we'll check in with number 8, New York Song, who is undefeated since moving to the turf. Now he'll stretch out in distance, and boy, he was sharp. He was cranked up more so than what I've seen from his last 2 efforts when he was coming off of that year-plus layoff. So I can foresee him being very close, if not setting the pace here for trainer Rick Violet, as horses are making their way onto the turf and up to the gate here, breaking right in front of the stands for this mile and a 16th. Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. You see that 8 there in that picture, New York Song, a little lathered up there on the neck. But it's weird. We have cloud cover here, but it's kind of a muggy day.
Yeah, it is. And you got to pay attention to the horses on the racetrack. You see 4 different picks from all 4 analysts. I land on the 7. You see the 8. There is the lather on the neck. Sometimes it can be a worry, sometimes not. But, yeah, I would be concerned. I use this horse because I hate throwing horses out that have basically got on a turf course and have won 2 in a row from the 10 hole from both sides. No chance slots, although you can argue that the outside post going 1 turn at Belmont on the turf is an advantage. But I like the way this horse did it. Son of Posse is going to have to prove to stretch out, but I think worth a little bit of a look at 11-1.
Well, we knew the Chad Brown runners would take plenty of support. They are 2-1 and 5-2 respectively, but it is a little interesting that it is Nevisian Sky, the 7, who is favored over Startup Nation. I mean, this is a horse who was a Grade 2 winner here at Saratoga. Certainly tons more experience.
Yeah, maybe there's more upside with the 7. I'm wondering what the pace is going to be in here. A lot of fast horses here that haven't won races in a while, so the lead might be a scramble here early.
Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown for the load. It's Nevisian Sky, Startup Nation, the top 2 on the board for trainer Chad Brown. Here's Larry Colmus with the call.
And now West Hills Giant will move into the starting gate. Startup Nation, who is still second choice to stablemate Nevisian Sky, will move into line next. Now they're both at 5-2 on the board as Startup Nation comes up to the 11th spot in the starting gate here. and heads forward and in. Just one left to load. That's Dream Doctor and Angel Arroyo. Heading up to the starting gate, goes in. They're all in line. They're off. Very even beginning as Leave 'Em at the Gate goes out to the lead. West Hills Giants got speed too, and from the far outside there goes Spin Cycle. New York Song close up to the pace, as well as Nevisian Sky as they make their way into that first turn. Spin Cycle grabs the front. West Hills Giants steady there, runs in second, a length behind. Break up another 2 lengths more, and they're followed by Nevisian Sky, New York Song, and a 3-wide Dream Doctor. Leave 'Em at the Gate and Birchwood Road behind them. Cliffs of Dover is a bit headstrong behind those leaders, really throwing his head up there is Cliffs of Dover. Inside of Startup Nation as Iron Power goes up on the outside of them, and then Mr. Harlan and Uncle Si. 23.92 was the first quarter. Up the backstretch they go, and Spin Cycle and Manny Franco lead the way. They're on top 3/4 of a length. West Hills Giant has been guided to the outside in second. Nevisian Sky and New York Song right behind them. Leave 'Em at the Gate follows in fifth. Dream Doctor sixth on the far outside after a 48.48 half mile. And then Cliffs of Dover, who's down toward the inside, followed by Iron Power. Startup Nation behind horses, 8 lengths off the lead. And then it's Uncle Si and Mr. Harlan around the far turn. And it is Spin Cycle, but here on the far outside comes Nevisian Sky. West Hills Giants between them. New York Song rides the rail toward the top of the stretch. Then Dream Doctor, Iron Power to the outside. Cliffs of Dover closing through on the inside. On the far outside, it's Startup Nation, furlong to run. Nevisian Sky. Nevisian Sky in front. Startup Nation's closing on the outside. New York Song's coming through an opening at the rail, and Iron Power's right in the mix too. And from far behind, Uncle Si is coming down the center of the course. They come down to the line. Nevisian Sky in a photo finish with New York Song. Tight on the wire, then Iron Power, Uncle Si, and right there too was Startup Nation in a final time of 1 minute 40.68 seconds.
Photo finish here to start off this late pick 4. Nevisian Sky right there with the horse who was undefeated. Well, they both are on the turf. New York Song, who's 2 for 2 coming in.
The 7 was giant here. 3 wide most of the way. The 5 was even more giant. But watch the 8 dive to the rail right here with Flo the jockey. And they're going to get tight here with Nevisian Sky. Jose Ortiz is going to see the horses inside and point there. I don't know if there's anything going on. You can see the 5 trying to grind the way. But does the 8 ever have to lose any kind of motion here? Doesn't look like it at all.
Still at that point, I don't believe had got a nose in front, but ooh, got the best of the bob.
Now, see, that's a wicked bob because the 8 might have never been in front until that last bob. The horse that got the best trip was the 8 in here. The 7 was probably best. The 8 might have got the bob.
Andy, as we take another look here, yeah, right at the bob of the wire here, the 8 got the better jump, it looked like.
The 8 might have won this on the bob. It's hard to see. We're a little far from the TV. Nevisian Sky, even though it was far from me, obviously ran well and passed that test, but I think the slow pace helped him a lot in this race, Gabby, win or lose.
Well, the good thing about Nevisian Sky, though, Andy, is that he won in 2 very different ways, or we'll see if he won the head bob here, but he ran in 2 very different ways. Last time out, he got a really good pace to close into. Today, it wasn't the situation, but I like to see him actually make that closing bid not covered up in horses. It just shows his versatility, and you could see him when he got onto the turf course. It looked like a happy horse, but the 8 New York Song coming out of back-to-back victories in his lone 2 turf starts. So I don't know, guys. This is a close one. There we go. 8 unofficial.
So it's New York Song, who never got a nose in front until that final surge right at the wire.
Wow, what a wicked beat if you have the 7 here. You are completely right. The 8 was never, ever in front until the wire. Final time, 140, and a good job by Florent Giroux. Good ride here. And Nevisian Sky did nothing wrong at all here, as New York Song will start off this late pick 4. And if you're alive again in this pick 5, you got a nice little price in the last race with Harkness at about 6-1 to 10-1. And wow, what a wicked photo. And it ends up being a pretty easy nose.
Pretty easy nose. Florent Giroux, I mean, this horse is just He loves the grat. 3 for 3. He was off for a year. They come back. They try him on the turf for the first time, and he's been unstoppable since.
Yeah, he's got an interesting pedigree, right? Posse was a great sprinter out of Singspiel mare, who was obviously a European superstar. Congratulations to Teneri Farms. And you're right, the green has been kind to the son of Posse.
Well, we'll have the prices for you when we come back from a short break. Of course, the Whitney draw was last night here in town, and Gary Contessa, he'll be sending out 2 Brutus. He told everyone the key to having a big race in the Whitney.
I'd like to say one other thing. On behalf
I knew I should have given him the
on
mic.
behalf of my peers and the other trainers that are here that didn't have an opportunity to say this, I truly hope Andy Serling doesn't like him on Saturday.
We will preview the 90th running of the Whitney. Gun Runner, going to be a heavy favorite, but he'll be going up against a horse who had one of the most shocking performances we have ever seen here. That was in the Travers when he beat American Pharoah, Keen Ice.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2. Someone's a little camera shy there. No bad places to watch the races here at the spot. New York Song, 3 for 3 off the year layoff and undefeated all 3 of those races on the turf since the comeback.
Some good stuff there, and gets the bob.
22.80 for the win. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
And here with Rick Violet, whom I got to point out the fact that you actually went to the number along the rail, not to the winner's circle, because you weren't sure that you had won this with New York Song.
Oh, I was sure we didn't win. I had a friend of mine grab me. I didn't see the slow-mo at the wire. A friend grabbed me and said, I think you won it. And I kind of went, I don't know. This never happens. You know, usually you think you won it and you end up going back to the number. The other way around never works.
Well, it's a good thing it did. And New York Song certainly made a name for himself on the turf so far, Rick.
He really is. I mean, pedigree-wise, he was supposed to. We never got there, you know, as a 2-year-old. But it's been worth the wait. He's a pretty cool horse.
And you talked about how much he's grown up, especially evident in this effort here, battling down the inside. Where do you kind of step forward with him from here?
I don't know. I guess we have to think about the West Point. You know, it's in a few weeks. Might be a little tight, but we can also go to the Open A other than.
One of the good things about Saratoga, you have many options, but job well done with a horse who you stuck one in there. Is he eligible for the starter still?
He probably is. So
I'm finding races for you.
We have some options.
That's for sure. Enjoy this one, though.
Thank you so much.
All right, Greg.
Yeah, all kinds of options with a very talented runner who has found a new home on the turf.
Yeah, it really has. It just shows you, you know, Gabby had mentioned this a couple days ago. As you look at the late pick 5 follow-up, and hopefully you're alive and well and still going. You got 3 more legs you need to survive. But talking about, you know, horses that are undefeated on a course and sometimes are just way better, sometimes show speed over one course and not the other. This is a perfect example. This horse just loves the turf. Was not a dirt horse.
We move along. Some of us do. Not me in the pick 5, but the great thing is you can start over with the pick 3 here. 1 3/8 over the inner turf. It's an entry-level allowance coming up. Church Social right now for trainer Shug McGahee is the 5-2 favorite on the board.
Yeah, 1 for 9 lifetime. Nice second place finish last time out. But have we seen this same movie? They put blinkers on this filly, and she's just been doing the same thing. Sort of runs her races upside down, so you look for her late.
You can watch live Saratoga racing, replays, expert analysis, videos, and workouts, all of it on demand in HD with the NYRA Now app, the ultimate app to keep up with all the action at Saratoga this summer. It's a free download, so download the NYRA Now app today. Well, big weekend, of course, coming up with the very prestigious Whitney. We have one of the true stars in our game who's going to be a heavy favorite in that race in Gun Runner. Of course, we had the draw happen last night here in town at Sperry's. Our own Andy Serling did a tremendous job of hosting the event. Mary Lou Whitney was on hand as well to draw the post positions, who has been such an important part not only of racing here but of this entire town.
He really has, and tremendous trophy. And I echo your sentiments. Andy did a phenomenal job too, and all, you know, systems go with Gun Runner, right? I mean, is he the best horse now in the country with the San Diego flop of Arrogate? Man, he looked like it in the Stephen Foster.
This was an incredible performance. He was wrapped up late in this race and could have probably had a track record that had stood for more than 15 years by Victory Gallop. You see Florent Giroux taking care of him, saying, I know we got more work to do down the line, especially if we're possibly going to meet Arrogate again.
Well, he knows. He knows what he's up against if Arrogate can get back on his game. And here was the draw last night. And you see Keen Ice, probably his main rival, and maybe the second choice. I would think the clear second choice in the 90th running. Draws right inside of him. War Story for Mr. Luch. Going to be sort of the wise guy horse, I would think.
Well, Steve Asmussen, here he is on how Gun Runner has progressed to where he is now.
I think that Gun Runner started out a very good horse, and he's just reaching an elite level, and hopefully that'll continue. You know, last year his third in the Travers from the 14 hole was a solid race. If anything, I think that he handled the circumstances fine that day. But his races this year, as well as how he finished off last year, have been faster, better races, and hopefully that trend continues.
The locks are flowing for Steve Asmussen, and he's got a good one in Gun Runners. We take a look at our NTRA top thoroughbred poll. Even with the flop in the San Diego Arrogate, still top of that list, waiting to see if he does come back in that Pacific Classic. But as we send it downstairs to Andy and Gabby, obviously, guys, Gunrunner going to be a very short price, but you never know here at the Graveyard.
Well, you never know anywhere at the racetrack. We saw it at Del Mar when Arrogate didn't show up. And Arrogate should be still top of that poll. He had the one bad race, too bad to be true. He's got to bounce back, though, in the Pacific Classic. Otherwise, Gunrunner wins tomorrow, and Arrogate throws in another clunker. There is a fair argument that Gunrunner at that point assumes the control.
I agree with you. I think Arrogate, well, he's got a lot to prove after that last performance and going to the Pacific Classic, just that if he can rebound. But Gunrunner, you know, in the Whitney, it's going to be an interesting pace dynamic because we do have the presence of the potential Rabbit and Cautious Giant. We also have 2 Brutus in there. And I still do think that Gunrunner is most effective when he's on the lead. Not to say that he's impossible when he rates, but he's more effective on the lead.
Well, you could argue and say, well, he's just improved with age and he's improved with each race, and Steve Asmussen's done a great job moving forward. But you could also argue that he's gotten very good when they've been aggressive with him, and I think that's a very fair point. He was fortunately drawn outside of 2 Brutus and outside of Cautionary Giant. And Cautionary Giant is the Rabbit, make no mistake. He's going in the front. I think Steve Asmussen had to really sort of hold his breath because there were 2 horses left to draw, and posts 4 and 6 were still left. If 2 Brutus had drawn the 6 and he had drawn the 4, he would have been sandwiched between the speeds, which potentially could have been a problem. But as you say now, while he may not have the lead, he will be in that good stalking spot outside. If he runs his race and he rates, he's going to win.
And we also have the presence of a horse like Keen Ice, who obviously in one of his most impressive victories dethroned American Pharaoh here. And what do you do with a horse like this? He's obviously had success here at Saratoga, and given the pace scenario, might help him.
Well, it's interesting. The Rabbit has entered to help War Story, the other horse that Luch Racing is running. But he actually might end up helping Keen Ice, Greg.
So Keen Ice, Todd Pletcher got him back to, remember, this is a horse who has only won twice in his career. He was a maiden winner and a Travers winner, still eligible for a ton of conditions, and then he comes up and he beats Shaman Ghost in the Suburban.
Well, the thing about Keen Ice is, to me, the only way that you see a Gunrunner get beat, I think Gabby's 100% right. Gunrunner's a better horse on the front end. How he loses the Whitney, he loses it to Keen Ice. He doesn't lose the race to War Story. He's not going to lose it to him. He loses the race to Keen Ice if 2 Brutus and those other horses sting him. If Gunrunners are able to rate and go by those horses, put them away, he's going to be the winner. If those other horses sting him a little bit, Keen Ice is going to be there to pick up the pieces. Like you said, he's already beat American Pharaoh. He's beaten likes of Shaman Ghost. He's beaten some quality horses, but they got the same running style of Tiny. I think Gunrunner can rate, but I'm with Andy where Keen Ice is the better horse for the Luch Rabbit. The Luch Rabbit might help Keen Ice. I'm with Andy.
Best moment of his career, it came right here on this racetrack in the 2015 Travers. Earlier in the week, Gabby had a chance to catch up with Donegal Racing's Jerry Crawford.
What was the camp's reaction to the workout, and how's he coming into the race?
Well, Todd Pletcher says he's training the best he's trained since he's had him. And he said the sooner we can get him in his next race, the better. So that was a big, big part of our decision to run him in the Whitney this coming weekend.
He's a very, very cool horse, Keen Ice, and although he's danced pretty much all the dances, he only has 3 lifetime victories. One of them a maiden win, another one he dethroned the Triple Crown winner, and obviously most recently taking down Shaman Ghost, heavily favored in the Suburban. What is the key to this horse's success?
Well, first of all, it's important to put in context what his career has been. He started off his career running against American Pharaoh, and then he started running against California Chrome. And now he's, of course, been running against Arrogate. So, I mean, has there been a horse in modern time that's had those kind of horses as his primary competitor? So when you say he's danced every dance and he keeps accumulating purse money right and left, he's done all we've asked him to do. Of course, he eventually did beat American Pharaoh right here at Saratoga. That was another factor, and what a great story it would be if the old guy could get up and do it again, you know, in the Whitney. And then he beat California Chrome in the Pegasus. And so that just leaves Arrogate and Gunrunner. So we'll try and take them one at a time.
All right. Well, we'll see if that does come to fruition, but best of luck this coming weekend in the Whitney.
Thanks. And Gabby, welcome to New York. Nice to steal you away from Maryland for a while. I hope it lasts.
Thank you. I do as well. Thanks, Jerry.
All right. Good to be with you.
Well, Keen Ice going to be a major player in that race. He's been a great story. But again, this is where he made his mark.
He did. He made his mark. Javier Castellano gave one of his best rides. Still got a nice little assist from Frosted, but you cannot take anything away from Keen Ice. And you make a good point. When they like this racetrack, they like it.
Race 8 coming up next here from Saratoga, mile 3/8 over the inner turf. There's one of many contenders in a wide open group. Violet Blue, Florent Giroux will ride. We'll be back.
And they're off to New York, the premier state bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses, restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish first, second, or third at New York tracks. We have the quality.
Dakota, they won't catch Monin. Monin wins the February State.
You have the opportunity. New York breds. Get with the program. The best program.
Make Naira Bets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use Naira Bets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NairaBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. Naira Bets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NairaBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, and we're getting set for race 8 coming up. It's going to be a mile 3/8 on the turf. Our show is brought to you in part by, oh, this one was good. Sprint never lost as a sprinter. Champion sprinter, Run Happy. Undefeated in sprint competition, set a stakes record in the King's Bishop at Saratoga and a track record at Keeneland in that 2015 Breeders' Cup Sprint. There he is on the farm in Paris, Kentucky. Part of that Claiborne Stallion roster, the only male this century to win a Breeders' Cup race on dirt without running on Lasix. Looking pretty happy there on the farm.
You think so? Loving life.
Beautiful farm out there. Race 8, 14 minutes away. And it is still Church Social who is taking all the money in here. Jose Ortiz meets leading rider, one better than his older brother, Irad Ortiz Jr. He's on board Church Social with more on this 8th race. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
And I'll take a look at number 4, your current favorite. That is Church Social, who is not very social. She's not very accommodating. She's a little wound up. Saratoga seems to get a little bit to her, a little more so than Belmont, but she is accompanied by the pony, and the pony, by the way, was my partner from this last weekend, Q, so he's well-rounded individual, but otherwise she looks great in here. But do pay attention on how she behaves out on the track. It's not completely out of character that she is this way. Obviously, the connections, Shug McGahee and his team have done everything they can to kind of assuage that bad habit of getting very keyed up with Church Social. Next, we'll move on to number 7, Homeland Security, and quite a training feat Chad Brown pulled off with this filly, I think, coming off of a long layoff and getting her to fire first time off the bench, going 1.25 miles, and I will say that she's come out of that race in the right kind of way to go the 1 3/8 here. She's put on muscle mass. She just looks stronger overall, and she's nice and calm. And you know, you look for those horses that don't have that many starts, that maybe they are coming off a layoff second time, if they get a little bit nervous, that they're, you know, worried about what's about to come off as they run their next race. But she hasn't at all. She has not turned a hair. I like what I'm seeing from her even more so than what I did back on June 30th. The horse, though, that to me just looks best is number 8 in here, Flower Alley, for trainer Graham Motion, who has been doing well at this Saratoga meet thus far. And I know she certainly had her chances, but these kind of distances I think she lends herself well to. She looks fantastic, looks as though she's training well here at Saratoga. So Flower Alley in the looks department for me. And then finally, we'll take a look at number 9, Lucky Long, as the blinkers do come off, but the hood goes on. So she's wearing the kind of earmuffs over her ears. And I'm sure that's Tony's thinking of trying to keep her calm for her to get this distance for the first time. Physically, she looks well capable of doing so. I mean, she is long. They named her right. She's a long, scopy type of filly. She's nice and calm here in the paddock, giving me every sign that she will be competitive going this kind of long route distance. But Andy, this is an interesting field. Who do you guys like in here?
Well, it's a question of speed. Will there be enough pace? Because the 4 Church Social, you look at her and you see that she's been some short prices, and she's got the 9 races with 1 win and the 5 seconds and thirds. She has the look of a bridesmaid, Gabby, but maybe that's the case, but she's been very unlucky in her last 2 starts because of slow paces.
And it's kind of crazy to think about it, too, because in the past, Andy, she's found herself a little bit more forwardly placed on occasion. When she broke her maiden, that was the case. But in the past couple of starts, she's been so far off of those slow paces. And we'll take a look at her performance here. She did have to, unfortunately, go wide in this last race. She was really wide throughout the entire running of the race, where we saw Flower Valley. She tried to go up the rail inside. Looked like she was a little intimidated to go through that small spot there. I don't know. I don't know if the pace scenario is going to be conducive to a running style in this race. That's my biggest hindrance with a horse like this.
Well, it's always a problem with deep closers. She was 4 wide in the first turn, but did get over the rail in the first turn. It was wide, though, I agree, on the second turn. You and I have both taken a chance with the number 9 horse, and I'll bet $20 to win the 9 Lucky Long. I bet her, and I played some exactas as well for myself. We're going to try to wire the field with the 9 Lucky Long. She's actually got talent. The question with her is whether or not she can actually get the distance. Just because she's a speed and has talent doesn't mean she can get 1 mile 3/8. I think she and the 9 are a good combination, because the 4, excuse me, because either she wires the field or I think it helps set it up for the 4 as the best closer.
I think that's the strategy you want to have going into a race like this. But there's not really anything that she has done in the past to give you confidence that she can handle this distance. But her pedigree suggests so, and I like to hear Maggie saying that she thinks physically she can handle the distance. She is by looking at Lucky, and she's out of a mare who ran as far as 1.5 miles. So if that pedigree comes to the plate today, well, she can probably get the distance, and she's going to have tactical advantage. It depends on how quickly or how slowly she's able to go up front.
Yeah, I'm not worried as much about that as much as the actual stamina. And a horse you know will have stamina is the 7 Homeland Security. Because she came off of a long layoff, almost over 9 months, and was able to win 1.25 miles and beat the heavy favorite Dovecote, who came back to win. She has to get faster, but she certainly shows she can run off a layoff and run a long distance.
It was impressive last time out considering the layoff, but she is a recent maiden breaker facing winners for the first time, and she does look like she might be pace compromised, but one thing's for sure, the longer the better for her.
They're heading onto the track.
Yeah, here comes our post parade, and we're going to start off with La Menta Grise. Rusty Arnold, Julian Leperoux comes out of the Grade 3 Regret at Churchill.
draws well towards the inside, and if the 9 Lucky Long can't handle the distance, she could inherit the lead. The question is whether or not she's good enough.
Jose Lezcano is aboard Khaleesi Cat for Hall of Famer Bill Mott.
She's a horse that needs pace to run at, and she's really questionable at the distance. And if a closer wins, don't you prefer Church Social?
And here is Church Social, the current favorite right now, Jose Ortiz for Shug McGahee.
As Andy mentioned, she looks to be closing off of the pace, and she is your current favorite.
Violet Blue, the 5, Florent Giroux for Jimmy Toner, comes out of the Belmont Oaks, Grade 1.
An interesting player for a very good trainer and a rider. Florent Giroux gave an excellent ride to win the last race. I think she has upside and is worth using it here.
The 6 Seafire filly won at 1.25 miles in France at Deauville. Roy Lerman, Tyler Gaffleone team up.
She actually was compromised by a slow pace going the mile last time out, and given her European races, it looks like she should be able to handle at a distance.
Homeland Security for Chad Brown, went off a 10-month layoff here. Irad Ortiz Jr., bird for Klarovich Stables.
Can she take another step forward, second off the layoff?
Flower Valley is the 8, Joel Rosario for trainer Graham Motion.
A closer, she comes out of the same race as Church Social. Can she get a little bit closer to the pace in a paceless race?
Lucky Long, the blinkers come off, 2 back. She faced Morticia, who was brilliant the other day sprinting here on the turf. This one for Anthony Dutrow.
She's improving for Tony Dutrow, and she's likely to try to wire this field.
And on the outside, Majestic Trick, it's Angel Arroyo aboard at 37-1.
Recently claimed for $25,000 for trainer Ollie Figgins. A decent performance against Allowance Company last time out. Faces much tougher today, though.
That is your field for this Mile 3/8 marathon here over the inner turf. We're approaching the 5-minute mark to post. We will be back with more coming up here on Saratoga Live. And, of course, our features still to come. Carina Mia, first time running in the Chad Brown barn, and the featured Shine Again still ahead.
And they're off. Naira Bet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NairaBets.com. Bet the Naira Bet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NairaBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Naira track or New York OTB location. Naira Bet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
Eclipse Award-winning Songbird was bought at Saratoga Fasig-Tipton. Where will you be this August?
Eclipse champion Stellar Wind is a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga grad. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
Here on this Wednesday afternoon, and horses are warming up out on the track for today's 8th race, but I'm joined by a special guest here. I'm sure a lot of you guys recognize this face. David Portnoy of Barstool Sports, El Presidente, I should be calling him. Of course, does that make you blush a little bit?
Yeah, no, Dave works. Dave works.
Okay, fine. Dave, do you include horse racing on your site?
Yeah, I cover horse racing all the time. Yeah, we have a deal with Naira, so yes, a lot of horse racing stuff.
And looking at this race here, who'd you pick? I know you're going to have Dad bet, but you should have enough time.
Yeah, I like the 5. Jane Motion has basically guaranteed me her horse, the 8's going to win. I think I'm going to ignore that advice because you started getting nervous. I'm going to go on my own with the 5, I think.
Well, I like the 8 too. So yeah. So might be too much weight on Graham's horse,
That
but
actually, that makes me nervous.
But Dave, I also got to ask you. You're infamous for your pizza reviews.
Yep.
Have you done one here in Saratoga?
Yeah, I did Pope's last year, which I loved, and I'm going to find a bunch. All the ones on Caroline Street, which everyone's been squawking, I haven't loved. I think I'm going to drive outside the main area to get the good pizza.
All right, Pizza Etc. Have you ever been there?
I feel like I have.
It's over off Geyser Crest Road.
I'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't want to say things I'll regret.
All right, Dave. Well, best of luck here and enjoy Saratoga. It's good seeing you.
Thank you. You too.
And I'll tell Paulie LaDuca you said hi.
Please do that. Yes, thanks.
Paulie, you hear that?
He's a good guy. You remember the horse Roman Approval? He owned part of that. He part of Three Diamonds Farms and the president and Barstool Sports, and he's a racetracker, man. He is a true racetracker. He had the 17-to-1 shot, kabang, 500 to win, and he was up here watching the race with us, got the bob of life, and he had a big win bet on that 8 horse, too, for Rick Violet.
Yeah, he's got a good opinion. Of course, most of us know, very familiar with Barstool Sports. They have become hugely popular.
Yes.
So fire away. They're definitely big time involved in the races here. Good to have them on the show. 8th race coming up in here. 42-1 on this horse. I can make the case. You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2, and welcome to those who just joined us on Altitude Network. Carina Mia, the Grade 1 winner, in a new barn now for trainer Chad Brown. How will she fare? Can she get back in the winner's circle? She's been in 7 straight Grade 1s and now dropping a class, trying to get her back to her winning ways. Our show presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. That Shine Again, our feature, still to come in race 9. Right now, though, it is race 8. Greg Wolf alongside former New York Met, LA Dodger, Paul LaDuca. Paul, here quickly, who do you like in this race?
Well, I mean, I put my check mark on the 4, and could this filly be the horse that is going to be coming late? Yes, but needs some pace to run into, and I know downstairs they like the 9 a little bit.
Well, we're trying to wire the field. We're trying to be clever here. I don't know if it's possible for us to be clever, but we'll try. I do want to talk about the 5-horse Violet Blue a little with you, Gabby. You know, they took a shot. The Belmont Oaks is $1 million race, and they could get in. They took a shot. She didn't run that well, but she didn't do much running. Turf racing can flatter horses that get beaten relatively big margins. But still, she did run well against Blenheim Palace and Double Cast, 2 back, and Double Cast was just in a photo with Homeland Security. I think she's a fit in here, and you know she'll like the distance.
We see Jimmy Toner do this on several occasions when he's really confident in the ability, especially of his turf horses. He's not afraid to step them into deeper waters, and that's what we saw in the Oaks last time out. But she, too, again, Andy, we're talking about all these horses who have
they're plotters.
They're plotters. They have no speed. And I don't know how this race is going to unfold, but of the closers in here, I'd prefer others.
I don't have too many talents, but I know if one of them was training, I'd be training speed into my turf horses because all you see, the horses come from well back.
You get to stay out of trouble in that case, right?
Exactly.
If you're on the lead, you can't get in trouble.
But you can't blame the rider because you can't say you got in trouble. You can tell me you went too fast. The 8 Flower Valley. You know, Flower Valley's okay in here, but she's another horse. She's 1 for 11 lifetime.
And she's a closer. She doesn't really have that much early speed. And last time out, we saw Church Social and Flower Valley make that same move. Flower Valley moved to the inside. She saved ground really the entire way. Church Social, on the other hand, she went extremely wide and probably lost her advantage. So of that race, I prefer Church Social.
I agree, even though she's a much shorter price. I agree. I think 2-1 and the 5 or 6-1 is sort of fair. You know, I hope the 9 wins. I bet the 9. We bet the 9. But in my heart, guys, I kind of hope the 4 gets it done. I feel like she's run well enough to win a lot of races.
Andy's showing some heart. Okay, likes the 4 in here. Church Social. A lot of near misses certainly for the 4 here for Sugar McGahee. I had talked about this 47-1 shot on the outside here, Majestic Trick. Paul, that turf race 2 back at Pimlico, the winner of that race would come back to run 2nd in a stake at Delaware. Private Client, who ran 2nd in there, There's a multiple winner on the grass for Tom Proctor, who won by 6.5 lengths at Saratoga here last summer. The third-place finisher came back next time out, won at Belmont, and then ran third in the River Memory Stake at Belmont for Grand Motion.
So did you go to Naira Bets and make your bet?
I'm in the process.
I mean, a $20 win bet would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree this race is wide open. Certainly the 4, though, could win as well, right?
Yes. Well, Church Social's the horse to beat. When you started handicapping this race, you went through her, right? So one for 9 lifetime, and you look at her races again. Like I said before, she runs the same race. And actually, when I walked in today, I walked in straight into Andy's office. I said, does Church Social finally win today? And we both have the same view. It can happen. But when is it going to happen? Is today going to be? Because her last 2 efforts, I understand she was wide. She was never getting there.
There she is, those white blinkers, the 4-horse loading up, a lot of near misses the last few starts. Is the day that she graduates here and gets through this condition? We're about to find out. Let's send it upstairs for the call. The 8th to the voice of the Triple Crown, Larry Colmus with the call, race 8.
Last 2 moving into line now are Lucky Long and Majestic Trick. 2-1 still on Church Social, the current favorite, as Majestic Trick comes up to complete the line. They're all in line. They're off. Majestic Trick a bit slow to get going here. La Monta Grease with Violet Blue out for the lead. And they're followed on the outside by Flower Valley Homeland Security. Will be 4th early on, just clear of Seafire. And then Lucky Long to the outside. Church Social about 8 lengths off the lead in the initial stages. Majestic Trick has gone by Khaleesi Cat at the rear of the field as they come to the top of the stretch for the first time, where Joel Rosario takes the initiative with Flower Valley. And leading the way early on here by 2 lengths over Violet Blue. Ran a quarter in 24.67 seconds. Homeland Security is running in 3rd, 4 lengths off the lead, and then La Monta Grease followed by Lucky Long to the outside as they race by us for the first time. Seafire is 7 lengths off the lead. Church Social held up 3rd last, Majestic Trick and Khaleesi Cat. So Flower Valley is the leader here, completing the first half mile in 50.36 seconds and heading into the clubhouse turn with mild pressure from Violet Blue on the outside. Homeland Security saves all the ground in 3rd. La Monta Grease, 1 off the rail, 4th. 2 lengths to Seafire. Lucky Long to the outside is next. Church Social still 8 lengths from the front, just ahead of Majestic Trick and Khaleesi Cat as they straighten onto the backstretch here, where Flower Valley continues to lead. It's been on top every step of the way so far and has slowed things down. 1:16.96 seconds, a paucity of pace here. Violet Blue is running in 2nd, and then it's La Monta Grease to the outside, followed by Homeland Security, who's 3.5 lengths off the lead. Lucky Long is next. Seafire toward the inside. Church Social, Majestic Trick, and Khaleesi Cat. They make their way for the far turn. Flower Valley every inch of the way so far. 3/4 of a length to Violet Blue. La Monta Grease is sent along. Church Social's going to take the far outside route, while Homeland Security cuts the corner, and then it's Seafire. They're into the stretch. Flower Valley set down for another furlong. Violet Blue, La Monta Grease. Homeland Security comes off the rail. Church Social on the far outside. Lucky Long and Seafire. It is still Flower Valley. La Monta Grease trying to go for the upset. Church Social on the far outside, and Homeland Security. It's La Monta Grease in front down to the wire. La Monta Grease over Flower Valley. And then it was Church Social and Homeland Security in 2 minutes 16.35 seconds.
La Monta Grease with the win here at 11-1, Andy.
Yeah, I'm mystified looking at the PPs, but she was close to the pace, and when the decision was made to rate Lucky Long and therefore give her absolutely no chance whatsoever in the race, Joel Rosario made a terrific move going to lead with Flower Valley, and she has no excuse to lose this race. It does seem like the horse that sort of stacked up 1-2 on the inside got it done. La Monta Grease setting up, I got to think at this point, a definite pick 6 carryover and probably a pick 5 carryover as well.
She got the victory there at 11-1, and you were mentioning that she just rated from off the pace, and she had a good rail post position and a very slow pace to do it. Andy, she didn't have to make up that much ground, and she was actually a horse in the past that has been, sometimes when she's been well placed, has been at least able to sit mid-pack, so she wasn't taken as much out of her element as a horse like Church Social, who when there's a slow pace and no pace to close into, it takes them incredibly out of their element.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. She was where she expected to be, sitting second. You expect her sitting behind Lucky Long. Santana rating this horse feels like he was riding to instructions. Very poor instructions, guys.
1-8-4-7, Flower Valley doing all the work up front. Just comes up a little bit short.
Yeah, listen, the 8 ran a bang-up race. And Church Social, you know, you always say she's going to run the best number, the best speed figure. She's wide most of the time, but she does it every time. She has to run her races that way because she's void of early speed. When you're 8 lengths out of it and they're going 116 for 6 furlongs and you lose the race by a length, you are the best. But it's a broken record. And congratulations to the connections. And I think Andy's right. You're on your way to maybe, if Carina Mia goes down, a pick 5 carryover. A pick 6 is already cemented, I think.
Yeah, big numbers all around. Well, there she is, Corina Mia. She is without question the one to beat. Used to be in the barn, a Hall of Famer, Bill Mott. She's moved to Chad Brown's barn here for Three Chimneys Farm. First start with Chad Brown. How will she fare? Yet to win at Saratoga. Will the third time be the charm? We'll be back.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Eclipse Award winner Blame retired to stud with more than $4.3 million in earnings, including a historic victory over Zenyatta in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now he's making a name for himself as an internationally successful stallion. In 2017, his top runners include stakes winner No Fault of Mine, Japanese star Resonator, and classic winner Singa, the dominant victor of this year's Grade 1 French Oaks. Blame at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live, the 8th in the books, and Julien Leperoux gets the win for trainer Rusty Arnold in the 8th. Let's send it downstairs. Look at that, 24.80 for the victory. Flower Alley doing all the work up front, but La Manta Grise gets the job done in the end. Maggie standing by with Julien.
And a well-timed ride, that's for sure here, Julien Leperoux. Were you feeling as though that Flower Valley wasn't setting that fast of fractions to keep her a bit honest and keep your horse close to the pace?
Yeah, you know, last time we went pretty good pace and she was far back, but today I knew there was not much speed in there, so I was sitting pretty close. And, you know, like Rusty said before the race, she's bred to go that far, so it was not a worry for us, and she got the job done.
And you rode her last time, obviously, in a grade 3. Did she give you a feeling that she could be a filly that was competitive, at least an allowance company here in New York and Saratoga?
Yeah, well, you know, before the stake last time, Rusty really liked her. She ran okay, not great, but okay. But didn't get beat too far, you know, and I think the out of distance was a big deal today, and she did good.
And we'll be missing you this Saturday as you'll be heading out to Mountaineer Racetrack for trainer Ian Wilkes with McCormick. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, he ran good last time in Iowa, and you know, he ran a good second. We were on the lead and pressed. You know, Saturday we live on the outside, so we can dictate whatever we want to do. He's probably going to put me in a race anyway, but probably can get him to relax a little bit more, and hopefully he can get the job done too.
Excellent. Well, we'll be missing you, but sending you the best of luck. Congratulations here, and also congratulations on your second child incoming.
Good. Another little boy. December, very excited about it, and it's all good.
Life is good. Julian, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. Well, beautifully timed ride there by Julian.
Yeah, good job there by Julian. Always a great turf rider and gets the job done for Rusty Arnold. And he's 2 for his last 2. And here is the Naira Betts late pick 5 follow along. Wow, I mean, that double, the pick 3 was $1,300 for $1. That's all you need to know. And again, if you beat Carina Mia here, who is currently 2 to 5, you're going to have some horses carrying over, maybe all of them.
All right, well, let's set the stage here. The Shine Again, our feature and grade 1 winner of the Acorn, Corina Mia, debuting in the new barn of Chad Brown, our reigning Eclipse Award winner, his outstanding trainer. 2 to 5 for the debut with the new barn, and she has been tackling some of the toughest in the country.
She really has. You look down her running lines, you see Songbird a couple times, Paula's Silver Lining, you see Songbird 3 times, and I think that's all you need to see. And then she ran probably her best race here in the Coaching Club American Oaks when she took the biggest shot against Songbird, going a 1 1/8 miles. Then she cut back in the Ballerina and ran okay, but she's the one to beat for sure.
Well, this race named after, of course, Shine Again, who won the Ballerina at 21 to 1 in 2001. She would come back the next year for the Chief Allen Jerkins with Jean-Luc Samyn aboard to defend her title.
Coming to the top of the stretch. Mandy's Gold turns for home in front. Raging Fever right there. Shine Again just in behind them. The 3 of them at the top of the stretch together. Farther back, Sweet Nanette is 4th. They're coming into the final furlong now. Mandy's Gold, Raging Fever, Shine Again. The 3 of them in the final furlong. Mandy's Gold is tenacious. Raging Fever right there. Shine Again charging hard. Coming down to the finish. Here comes Shine Again. Raging Fever battles on. Shine Again to win the Ballerina again. Back to back. Shine Again was the winner.
Oh, there's a look at Shine Again's resume. And by the way, she barely missed a three-peat in the Ballerina as a 6-year-old when she wound up second by a neck.
Yeah, she lost to Harmony Lodge that day. And you're right, Jean-Luc Samyn rode her in a lot of her races, almost all of them besides about 8 or 9. And she ran half of her career off Lasix for the legendary Mr. Jerkins. And wow, the daughter of Wild Again, she was some kind of tough. 14 for 34 lifetime.
Yeah, that 2001 Ballerina, she beat Dream Supreme, who's the defending champ of the race, and Breeders' Cup Distaff winner Spain when she was that monster upset price. Very special runner. Race named in her honor is our feature coming up next, and Corina Mia, the one to beat at 1 to 2 on the board. Can she win for the first time here at Saratoga? It's coming up next. Stay tuned.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
We found Belmont Stakes winner Taprit at Fasig-Tipton, Saratoga. Where will you be in August?
Before Tepin conquered the world, she was a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sales graduate. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
Make Naira Betts NyraBets, your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, founded in 1950, the National Museum of Racing Hall of Fame has been one of the sport's most popular attractions for race fans across the country, right across the street from the racetrack. And of course, on Friday is going to be a very special moment for Javier Castellano, Garrett Gomez, of course, the late Garrett Gomez, Victor Espinosa, Triple Crown winning jockey, and Goldikova, three-time winner of the Breeders' Cup Mile, among others.
Yeah, one of the more special horses we ever saw come over here to America and conquer a race 3 times in a row. That's really tough to do. And obviously the 3 jockeys that are going in, well-deserved. The late, great Garrett Gomez and his ride on Blame. I know a lot of people still upset he beat Zenyatta. And then Victor Espinosa just winning too many Triple Crown races. And Javier Castellano, I think day in and day out, deserved the Hall of Fame more than anyone.
Well, 4 consecutive years he has been recognized as the outstanding jockey in the country, as your Eclipse Award-winning rider. Another big moment for him, collecting a victory in the Triple Crown Series with Cloud Computing in the Preakness. It's all added up to another incredible moment in a Hall of Fame deserving career. He shares who's his biggest inspiration in another edition of I Am.
I'm Javier Castellano.
Roses apart, Cloud Computing. So it is Javier Castellano getting the Preakness.
I'm a jockey. I really like to be jockeys. It's in my blood. My father was a jockey for 25 years. I love the sport, but the one thing my father, he don't want me to be jockey. It's a dangerous sport and a lot of sacrifices, and he changed his mind. He decided to help me up. He wanted me to finish high school in my country, Venezuela. My father was the biggest influence in my career, in my life. It's my idol, and it's something I always look up for. One of my biggest wins in my career could be Ghost Hopper, 2004. He won the Breeders' Cup Classic.
And Ghost Hopper is pulling away impressively. And a pup
of Javier Castellano. They have soundly defeated Roses and May. This was a no doubt about it winner.
He put me in the map. He put me basically another level. Very successful, win 4 Clips Award back-to-back. I think it's pretty amazing. 5 travel in Saratoga. I think it's pretty great achievement in my career.
And here on the far outside comes Keen Ice with a light red. American Pharoah put away Frosted. He has to deal with Keen Ice. Keen Ice has got him. Keen Ice has won the Travers over American Pharoah in a dramatic upset.
I always looking for target in my life, always looking for goal. And I've been very lucky, fortunate, to ride the best horse in the country, a lot of support, the biggest trainer in the country, the biggest owners and the racing. And I've been very fortunate, you know. I've been working hard for many, many years for try to enjoy this moment right now. To be inducted to the Hall of Fame, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's something any athlete and any sport is looking for that big level, you know. Thought, you know, and soon or later it's gonna come, but I didn't expect it that quick. To be father with 3 kids and my family, be part of my family, is a great moment in my life, you know. Spend the time with them, spend the Monday, Tuesday, my dark day off, spend it with them and play baseball with the little boy and my girl, they play tennis. It's amazing. My wife being support my career, amazing, because if without her, I think it would be nobody in charge. You know, I think it's one part of my success in my career. To be married with my wife and with the 3 kids, I think that helped me to motivate my career.
Well-deserved moment coming up on Friday for Javier Castellano, 4-time reigning Eclipse Award winner. But as we send it downstairs, Andy, the late Garrett Gomez, incredible moment for him as well, someone who was a 2-time Eclipse Award winner himself.
Absolutely, Greg. And had he not had his illness, he's somebody who would have achieved many great things in this game. And I'm very glad that he's being honored by the Hall of Fame and getting a chance to get in because he achieved great things in the racetrack. My personal experience with him were always extremely positive, and he unfortunately had his demons, and his things did not work out in his life. But it's great to see him honored for what he did in the racetrack, which was a great deal in a very short period of time. As we head out to Maggie.
Andy, thank you. As we do turn our attention to today's feature, it is the Shine Again Stakes, as we'll take a look at the duo that will go out for trainer Chad Brown, beginning with Corina Mia, as she will turn back in distance. And I've always been a strong believer that this filly is much better at the 7/8 kind of distance and much better a mile or under. And I like what I'm seeing from her. She's actually, it looks as though she's kind of put on weight. I'm a little concerned because she actually looks heavier than what I've seen her in the past. She might just be doing very well and eating through the bottom of her feed tub. But yes, I think this is the right kind of spot for her, liking her sprinting. Now, one that turns back as well is number 1, Going for Broke. But she's coming off of that long layoff, and you know, to me, I feel like this might be a stepping stone for her. She is a big, rangy filly, and I mean, she just has a lot of size and scope to her overall. I feel like she might be better going a bit further than this, to be honest. She is pretty fit, though, overall, but this one might be used just to fine-tune her, although I've always been a fan of hers. Next, we'll check in with one that I feel as though we have to mention because sometimes she can be a little bit difficult, and that's number 8, Mamma Mia Maria. But when she came back for that July 3rd effort where she won, she was mentally a different kind of filly, I should say mare. She's a lot more even keel while she's on the muscle. She was very focused and really didn't lose her race before going into the gate. And the same thing can be said here today. She's accompanied by her pony. She physically looks stronger than actually what she did going into that race, so that's a good thing. And like I've said, with these fillies and mares, that when they come off a long layoffs and it's their second start back, that's when they can sometimes lose it. But that is not the case whatsoever here with Mamma Mia Maria, as she will leave the paddock first and immediately make a right-hand turn. So she will not participate in the post parade. She will just go straight towards the backside here, Andy.
Well, she's certainly dangerous and was helped by the scratch in here, but Corina Mia is just an hour and a half the horse to beat. She's getting a significant class drop. Chad Brown used this race last year to get Wavell Avenue back on track, and talking to Chad Brown, he's very confident with how Corina Mia is doing coming up this race. And, Gabby, it might just be a case for being too much horse for these.
I have nothing to add to that. I mean, I really do think that she is the best horse in the race. She's tactical, even though we had some key scratches of some of the pace contenders in here. I mean, she's going to be sitting just off the pace, and this is her performance. When was this?
The Acorn.
The Acorn. When she swooped wide there. In the Acorn, there was a lot of pace in there, and she proved that she can effectively rate, which is what she's probably going to have to employ here today.
Actually, it wasn't that quick a pace. She actually came from well behind and was a fair pace.
But there are other speed types.
Catherine Sophia. You know, yeah, I mean, they employ the tactics. She's way the horse to beat. The question is, who are the others and what might be the scenario where they could win? Well, one of them is that Carina Mia doesn't show up. Now, maybe that happens, but I'm not banking on it. I think Indulgent, the 2, is one that maybe was taken a bit out of her game last time by Arad Ortiz, taken back too far of a slow pace. Wet track a time before that. If you go back to the April 9th race, I think that gives her a chance in here.
I'm in the middle between her. I don't know what to make of it because her Bed of Roses I didn't think was that great.
Because they took her too far of the pace, though.
But a couple starts back at Aqueduct going 7/8, I thought that was an okay race. She's going to have to work at it from the inside. She's not impossible, but like I said, Corina Mia is going to have to perform at her B level.
We're going to pretend she's not in the race, and there is a case for Indulgent, especially if you believe that she was taken too off the pace last time, and she's a little bit closer today. Now, you know that the 8 Mamma Mia Maria is going to be forwardly placed. David Canizzo believes in the value of speed. She was second this race last year to Wavell Avenue, and she could be in a good spot again today.
I love her in here now with some of those key scratches. And I thought her Shine Again performance last year was very good. We saw Wavell Avenue. She was coming out of the Bed of Roses. She got a perfect trip on the rail and with that pace in front of her. And she was the only horse that really stayed on that was part of that early pace scenario. And she comes out of a race where, again, some other speed types folded and she was the lone man standing at the end. So I think with some of the scratches, given the dynamic today, she's going to be, watch out for her, seriously, at 13-1.
You know, it's interesting. Guys, I don't know if you saw the pick 3s. The favorite, Carina Mia, is a huge favorite in the double. In the pick 3, she's actually somehow third choice behind Bird at the Wire and Going for Broke.
Yeah, Paul had pointed that out to me, and that was extremely surprising to see that, especially considering she's the 1-2 favorite right now.
Yeah, you very rarely see a couple horses. You might see one horse that will sneak under maybe a 4-5 shot, but not 1-2.
That one right there, she is pretty good. David Canizzo said she is doing things the right way ever since he gave her a couple of months off at the farm. First break she's really ever had in her racing career. And in her last start, she beat a filly named K-Zone, who was second in the Gallant Bloom. She beat Wavell Avenue in that race. Our post-parade brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more info, go to OCDpellets.com. Here is Mamma Mia Maria for Two-Tone Farms. David Canizzo and Manny Franco team up.
Like you said, second in this race last year behind Wavell Avenue and comes into this race off a nice win.
12-1 on the board on Mamma Mia Maria. Going for Broke, 1 of 2 for Chad Brown, Waterford Stable, and Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
All the money on Carina Mia, but if you look at the pick 3s, Going for Broke is paying less than her stablemate off a third-place finish. We haven't seen her since November of last year.
Indulgent is the 2 in here. A daughter of Bernardini. Kieran McLaughlin trains for Godolphin Racing with Luis Saez in the irons.
She seems like she's a little bit better off the pace. When she tried in the Ruffian to go the mile, she got a little eager on the front end. I think she's better behind horses.
Here she is, coming out of 7 consecutive Grade 1s for Three Chimneys Farm, moving to a new barn, now with Chad Brown and Javier Castellano aboard Corina Mia.
Well, no Songbird and no Paula Silver Lining at least lined up today for her. That's why she's 3-5.
Newman Racing sends out Absolutely for Charlton Baker with Dylan Davis.
Nice win, 2 back at Laurel. Both races over a sloppy racetrack. She hasn't caught a fast racetrack since she had a tough beat in Niagara and at Finger Lakes.
Bird at the Wire, the 6 for Tom Proctor with Jose Ortiz for Forum Racing, the 6.
Has the talent, right? Maybe to beat the likes of Carina Mia, but she's 0 for 11 out of form the last couple years.
She was 4th just behind Corina Mia and the Ballerina here at Saratoga last year. The 10, Wheatfield, Tyler Gaffleone for Nick Zito and Tiger Tail Ranch.
Another one that was really good last year, but this year she's 0 for 7, and she needs to step up her game. She gets a live rider and an up-and-coming rider in Tyler Gaffleone.
Well, again, with the scratches near, clip the coupon Annie, the 7 out, the 9 Polly's Express out, 2 that certainly were at least going to be forwardly placing close to the pace in here.
Yeah, and there was a lot of pace in this race to begin with, right? But you look at Carina Mia and you see some of her races when she wanted to and she had to stay close to the likes of Songbird. She was able to press the pace. So I think she's be able, even not being pace compromised, that she's good enough to stay close to this field.
We talked about Garrett Gomez, the late Garrett Gomez, going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame on Friday. Of course, one of his best moments aboard Blame in the Breeders' Cup Classic, beating Zenyatta, going for broke, who you just saw there, a daughter of Blame. And this happened on the 100th anniversary of Claiborne Farm.
Listen, he was one of the best finishers ever on a racehorse, and the great Blame got the best of Zenyatta on that day. The Son of Arch was giant, and Garrett Gomez had a lot to do with that. Andy commenting on him, I was able to watch him ride at Turf Paradise when I was a kid. He started at Realito Downs in Tucson, Arizona. What a talent he was, and what a talent that horse was, Blame.
3 grade 1s for Blame. Of course, Claiborne Farm was co-owner of the Breeders' Cup Classic winner, along with Adele Dilschneider. And there is the Blame filly going for broke. And Irad Ortiz Jr. will be aboard. The stablemate, though, new stablemate, the big favorite here in the Shine Again, Corina Mia. Can she return to the winner's circle? Cut back in distance and a drop in class coming up.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus Altitude Network, with us as well here on the summer place to be, the premier racetrack in all the country. Our feature coming up here at Saratoga, the Shine Again, and Grade 1 winner, Carina Mia, in the new barn of Chad Brown. Heavy favorite. Want to remind everyone, the NyraBet's late pick 5. If there is a single winning ticket and it is played through NyraBets, a $150,000 payout. And on Saturdays, that is bumped up to $300,000 to a single winning ticket if it is played through NyraBets. The only way to play that NyraBets late pick 5 if you don't live in the state of New York is at NyraBets.com. With more on the Shine Again, our feature coming up, let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
And just to really kind of boost the case here for Corina Mia, as she will likely be the favorite here. Guys, you know, I think Chad Brown is just trying to get this filly confident. I mean, how many times are you going to have to run behind Songbird? And I think she was a filly at that point in time who was doing brilliantly, but boy, your confidence kind of gets shattered. And I think Chad is just looking at this race and trying to get Carina Mia, who is a talented filly, back into the mindset of, I can do this. You know, these horses, they're living, breathing things, and they have personalities, and they have, you know, mental obstacles they have to get over oftentimes, just like human athletes. And I think this is what Chad's trying to do with her. But quickly, let's take a look at a horse who is taking some money as of now, and that's number 6, Bird at the Wire. She's kind of been all over the place. She does like the 7/8s here at Saratoga. I will say the ballerina, she ran a good 4th closing. She'll be looking to capitalize on any kind of pace collapse she might get, but I don't know if she's necessarily going to get it. I do think that to me, she looked better last year. Doesn't mean she's not going to run as good, but I just preferred what I had seen from her in last year's ballerina more so than what I do here today. Andy, any final thoughts?
Well, Chad Brown's other horse is dying for second choice, going for broke. This really feels like a prep for a race going longer, and especially the lack of pace. She feels like one that's probably a good bet against behind the favorite.
I agree with you. I mean, that's a question. That's a great point that you bring up, Andy. Is she more effective going one-turn distances, or is she better with a distance of ground? To me, I think she's more of a 9-furlong or farther type of horse. And last time out, I don't know what to make of that race. It didn't look like she did much running. We saw Verve's Tail, the winner. She came from farther back. They obviously did give her a little bit of freshening, but real post position, giving her running style and given the pace dynamic in this race, I don't think it's going to be favorable for her.
No, from a speed figure standpoint, she's fast enough to be a factor. The question is this race a means to the end? Getting back to Bird at the Wire, the 6 horse, I kind of agree the lack of pace really hurts her. I think she is good enough and effective at this distance, but the scratches really hurt her chances.
They do, and you can't take a horse like this out of her preferred running style, so she's just going to have to hope for the best and hope that that pace comes back to her today, and it didn't last time out. You see pretty fast fractions going 7/8 down at Gulfstream and the Princess Rooney last time out, but the pace held together pretty well.
Yeah, that was a pace that held together.
Well, getting set to load up here. So, Paul, 1-2 on Corina Mia. The stablemate going for broken here, making her 4-year-old debut. But what do you expect to see from Corina Mia?
Tough to tell, right? I mean, off the break, it's a little worrisome that her stablemate is paying a little bit lower in the pick 3. I think the lot 1 is live in here.
Let's send it upstairs for the call. The shine again, Larry Colmus. Take it away.
And Bird at the Wire goes into the starting gate, so there's 2 left to load here. Mama Mia, Maria, and Wheatfield will be the last 2 into the gate. 1-2 right now on Carina Mia, the favorite in the betting, as the last 2 runners step into the starting gate. Mama Mia, Maria goes in. Here comes Wheatfield. They're all in line. They're off in the shine again. Mama Mia, Maria, and Absolutely go to the front. Carina Mia's right behind them from the inside and will sit 3rd early on. And then it's Indulgent splitting horses and taking 4th up the backstretch. They're followed by Going for Broke, Wheatfield on the outside, and the trailer is Bird at the Wire. Up the backstretch they go, and it is Absolutely in front. Mama Mia Maria second through a 23.42 quarter. Not much pace on here. Carina Mia 3rd on the inside of Indulgent. Then Going for Broke, Bird at the Wire on the far outside, and Wheatfield. They're racing for the turn. There's a half-mile to run. Dylan Davis and Absolutely continue to lead the way. Mama Mia Maria pressing the pace. Bird at the Wire making an early run on the outside of Indulgent, while Carina Mia just waits on the inside in 5th and is hard held here. 2 lengths off the lead, saving every inch of ground. Then comes Wheatfield and Going for Broke, and they're coming to the top of the stretch. Absolutely turns for home with Mama Mia Maria right behind Carina Mia. Now angles just outside of them and comes on, and here she is now. Going for Broke, meanwhile, well, dashing through an opening on the inside, and has a shot two. It's Corina Mia and going for broke 1-2 now. Indulgent is third. It's Corina Mia in front, going for broke, fighting her to the finish. Corina Mia's got it close to home. Carina Mia in the shine again. Going for broke was second, and then came Indulgent and Mamma Mia Maria. The final time was 1 minute 22.23 seconds.
Class prevails in the shine again, and Corina Mia, Gabby, returns to the winner's circle in her debut for the new barn here with Chad Brown.
She really did get an ideal trip, guys. She sat just off the pace that did actually come to fruition. We saw Absolutely and Mamma Mia Maria go out to the front end. We can see them coming down the head-on, coming down the stretch. But Corina Mia, guys, I actually thought, Paul, this was a huge performance also from going for broke.
Yeah, going for broke sort of was following Corina Mia around the racetrack. You could see that Irad Ortiz knew that she was loaded, and he had to choose the rail because Corina Mia had to get out of that spot, and you could see the 5 got a little bit tired, and she was able. But a great job here by Castellano again to show his horse, because the 1 was putting up some fight here, Andy.
There were a couple of terrific rides, not only Javier's ride, but he had the ability to get position, but Irad Ortiz staying inside with going for broke. I think it's an interesting race to take apart because we had a 23-2 first quarter, but a 22-3 second quarter. They really sped it up in the middle portion of the race, and that's when the premature move was made by the 6 Bird at the Wire, as I think Jose Ortiz sensed the slow pace, and he wanted to do something about it. Unfortunately for him, that sped the race up, and it enabled Irad Ortiz to sit patiently on the inside for going for broke and get such a good ride and a good trip. A nice performance by both of them. Chad Brown runs 1-2. What else is new, Greg?
We see him do this time and time again in big races in grade 1s. He does it here in a stakes race again. Corina Mia going for broke. 1-2 for Chad Brown, who again is leading the way here at the meet at Saratoga. Corina Mia back to the winner's circle. It had been a little while. And now on to bigger and better things. We'll be back with more from Saratoga next.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new NYRA Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. NYRA Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download NYRA Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warfront. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 Mile at Keeneland. Then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. With a pedigree free of Mr. Prospector in the first 4 generations, Data Link is the perfect outcross option. His first weanlings turned heads, selling well above the stud fee. Data Link at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live here on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus. Carina Mia gets it done here, debuting for Chad Brown with Javier Castellano. Impressive performance here.
Yeah, congratulations to this filly by Malibu Muna, the Southern Halo mare. Now 5 for 13 lifetime, and she'll pad that bankroll for over $1.15 million. And congratulations to Three Chimneys Farms. That pick 3 slowed down a little bit after a large one, $560.
Chad Brown 1-2 in the shine again. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, great result here in today's feature for Chad. And first we'll start with Corina Mia, who you decided to turn back and got the job done here at Saratoga.
Yeah, she came over to me in pretty good shape, and lucky to have her in the barn. She put a couple good works in for us, and she ran great today.
And looking at distances, do you keep her around the kind of sprint distances?
We'll be talking about that. Obviously, she excels sprinting. She's run some really good races, 2 turns as well. Close finishes to Songbird last year and such. So I'll discuss it with Mr. Torrealba and his team, and we'll figure out what to do from here.
Do you try for a ballerina?
It's possible. It's one race we will be considering.
And your other horse ran tremendous. Probably a distance she's a little maybe short for overall, but does she want to go further? And what can you say about her coming back off the layoff?
Maggie, I think you're exactly right there. 7's not her ideal distance. I thought she ran great. Irad gave her a perfect trip on the rail. She's been off a long time, that filly. She ran too good to lose today, and I'm looking to stretch her out next time. She's possible for the personal Lenson later in the meet.
Looking forward to it. Both very nice fillies in your barn.
Thank you.
Guys?
Maggie, thanks. It's so difficult to win at Saratoga. It is so much more difficult to win at Saratoga when Chad Brown has runners in a race.
And when you look at hindsight, the top 2 finishers, Corina Mia obviously 3 times losing to Songbird, but going for broke ran a gallant race, although 7 lengths back was second to her.
So Chad Brown 1-2, and a filly that just came to his barn now. He's got some nice options with Carina Mia. Time now for What's Trending. And we begin with AP Indian. It was scratched from the Vanderbilt on Saturday. Multiple Grade 1 winner. Retired on Monday, we learned, due to lameness in his left front ankle. Races a homebred for Green Lantern Stable. Said just normal wear and tear. And he's going to be retrained as a stable pony, where his owners has actually said if that doesn't work out, he's always going to have a home at Green Lantern, where his brother's already there, Ender's Universe.
What a game horse he was, the son of Indian Charlie. Had that great mare, Ender's sister. Hey, always forget the great Lava Man is one of the best ponies that Doug O'Neill has. So champions can become ponies, and he'll probably like his new life.
Yeah, we've seen that in the past for sure. He was a tremendous sprinter, and that could take a lot out of you. I mean, runs all out all the time, and it was sort of a last-minute scratch over the weekend.
Well, Tom Amos, our colleague, he says that a lot. Listen, a sprinter always has to run dead fast every time, never really gets a breather, and it's really, really hard to be as sharp as AP Indian was all the way up to this age, and best to him in his retirement, and a great job by Honor Delacour. He did a great job with that horse.
Well, let's take a look at what else is trending in the game. This was the jockey karaoke. The winners are a Frenchman and a Cajun, Florent Giroux.
Well done.
And Kendrick Carmouche, who had the best entrance, I think, that probably this event has ever seen, with the fog machine coming out on a car.
I mean, that just went alone.
And this is the PDJF beneficiary, Michael Strait, still counting his blessings, including your support of the PDJF. Of course, Michael Strait, paralyzed from the chest down in a riding accident back in 2009. He's visited a couple of racetracks, including here, using a bionic exoskeleton machine that helps him get around. Nearly $9 million, by the way, has been dispersed by the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund to riders since back in 2006 when they got started.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about him is he's always got a smile on his face, and you could take a lot from his story, and still reaching and striving for more and more. And the PDJF does a tremendous job. And if you want to get social with us, you see all the Twitter handles. Get social with us. But if you ever get a chance to donate to the PDJF and you like horse racing, do it.
Yeah, pdjf.org is where you can go to do that. And remember, when you do interact with any of us, use the hashtag Saratoga Live so we can keep track of it all. The New York Racing Association, of course, is proud to continue to be leading the way with the most comprehensive Spanish-language TV content in the industry. Luis Grandison providing the call of every race and pre-race analysis available on the NYRA Now app. Here's the 2015 Travers American Pharoah falling victim to the graveyard of champions at the hands of Keen Ice.
En el comando, American Pharoah repitiendo por dentro, vuelve y domina el comando por 3/4 de cuerpo, de atrás King Ice, viene avanzando en embalaje, American Pharoah mantiene un cuerpo, King Ice viene avanzando, American Pharoah una cabeza, King Ice, paso de viaje, King Ice, American Pharoah llega segundo, tercero está finalizando Froster.
Keen Ice, an incredible moment in that Travers, beating the Triple Crown winner. American Pharoah just proves to you in this game, but certainly here at Saratoga, that has a reputation for upsets like this. That's why it's called the Graveyard of Champions. Things like that happen.
They do, and I still, to this day, I still think Bob Baffert did not want to ship in, and Frosted took his best shot, and Keen Ice was the beneficiary.
And he will be back in action in the Whitney, going head-to-head against Gunrunner here from Saratoga. Coming up, we're going to have the finale when we return here from Saratoga.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
I am a racehorse. I awake each morning ready to exercise. Some mornings I breeze and a time work. Most mornings I gallop or jog. Once I'm done exercising, I cool out for 30 minutes, making left-hand turns with a hot walker. Then my groom gives me my daily bath before I return to my stall to eat. I spend my afternoons grazing on alfalfa or on the lawn. I'm what you might call a fan favorite. Visitors stop by to say hi and feed me carrots. On race day, there is no morning meal. This is how I know that in a matter of hours, I'll head over to the paddock and size up the competition. My team will put on my bridle and saddle. The trainer will tell the owners how I've been doing before he tells the jockey how I like to be ridden. Then, a man will yell, "Riders up!"
Riders up!
And the jockey will climb on my back. I'll walk through the tunnel to the track as the bugler plays Call to Post. It is now time to put my game face on. I know that once I enter the starting gate, I'm seconds away from doing what I'm bred to do. That is run as fast as I can. The bell sounds, the gates open, the crowd roars, and I run. I run fast, and as I turn for home, to the roar of the crowd all the way to the finish. And if I win, I'll head to the winner's circle to get my picture taken with my smiling team. Win or lose, I return home with my groom to my barn for dinner and to catch some Z's to rest up for tomorrow. I am a racehorse.
That is close. That's $50. That's $100. That was.
Everybody trying to get a shot at Annie Serling in the dunk take. I got one in, Paulie got one in, and then here come the jockeys. The line was long, and all for a great cause to support the permanently disabled Jockeys Fund. This was earlier in the week.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Javier Castellano on the first shot. You saw Jose Ortiz on the first shot. The jockeys were not messing around. Everybody got a bit of everything. Dylan Davis got in, and the jockeys got in the tank too, so it was a lot of fun.
Andy, you going to do it again next year?
I tell you what, I don't know about you guys. I wanted to go back in it about 2 or 3 hours ago when it was about 90 degrees and humid here. I could have dove in that tank.
We got to get you some goggles next year because that was an aggressive drop. But I was actually surprised what good some of those jockeys had great arms.
Well,
on them,
they were motivated. They were highly motivated. You know, Paul, you should have given tips to the guy who came up and threw 6 balls. He was throwing harder than you were when we first started doing it. He kept missing. He was throwing too hard. You could have showed him. It wasn't really speed. It was accuracy.
It was
the
total,
lob ball.
Yeah, it was total accuracy. You're right. I hit it with the lob ball because after I tried to throw it hard, I was like, no. When I saw you just barely had to touch it, you're better off going with the lob ball on the last one. I'm just thank God that the one that rattled your cage didn't hit somebody else in the stands.
I know you threw that when you scared me the first one for sure. That was the hardest part of it all.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
And again, all benefiting a great cause, Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. Of course, that was the same with Jockey Karaoke as well. That happened Tuesday night, and it was the first time I got to go to the event and witness it, and it was just a tremendous time.
The guys put a lot of time in it, man. It's really cool. I'd like to see or put a camera in some of these guys' houses or in the jock room. Or like, are they really rehearsing some of these costumes, or are the wives doing this? But this is in one of their daughters' maybe mini trucks, and Kendrick Carmouche comes out. I mean, this is just phenomenal stuff.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely take this seriously and rehearse. It's important. And there's some great performances. Mike Luzzi was sensational, but Florent Giroux, again, coming up huge. Kendrick Carmouche's entrance with the fog machine, are you kidding me? Julian Rajiv, they brought Sexy back.
Yeah, you know, you're lucky that Rajiv didn't take his shirt off. He's the shirt-off bandit at some of these type of things, but yeah, some great stuff. Every year you get a ton of laughs.
And again, all benefiting the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. Again, go to pdjf.org, and you can contribute there as well. We still got one more to come here. This nightcap, it is a bit of a puzzler here. 5.5 furlongs on the turf, and a bunch of 2-year-olds in here, most of which who have never started.
Yeah, this is a race where you sort of got to read the board, right? And that's always tough because you never really know what's going to happen. But, you know, the 5 is the horse that's run. So I think the public is landing on the horse that is run. And you know what? She ran well. She had the lead most of the way, just got a little bit tired late. They finished up strong in that race. She'll be tight for today.
3 have actually been on the racetrack in the afternoon before, including the favorite right now, and that is a horse who was trained by Maggie's husband, Tom Morley. Let's send it down to Maggie for more.
whom I won't be talking about. We'll take a look at the first-time starters in here, beginning with number 3. That is Silverado Mist, and actually the ones that kind of stood out to me physically are the ones that are taking the most money, relatively speaking. And Silverado Mist is a filly that they only paid $40,000 for, and a daughter of Datalink, whom we are seeing his first crop here as 2-year-olds, and he was a good turf horse, so this is a very logical spot for her to debut in. And I liked her stride here overall. In that workout, in that, you know, she had good reach, and the rider really didn't ask her for much. So it was a 10-2 work, but it didn't bother me because she did it in the right kind of way and had that kind of turf look to her stride as well. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is that she might want to go a bit further than this, but otherwise I like the way she's put together. I like her overall appearance here in the paddock. Moving on to the Todd Pletcher train, number 7, March Express, came in on the muscle a little bit on the greener side for a Pletcher first-time starter. A lot of his are very well schooled here overall. And not that she's acting badly, just a little bit maybe unsure of what she's doing. And another one, though, that has that longer type of frame where she's extremely fit. We'll see how she negotiates the 5.5. We might see her going a bit further than this in future races. Next, we'll check in with number 9, Purely Lucky. Now, she does look like a turf sprinter, and she's well muscled here for trainer Brad Cox. I think she's one that's well meant for this spot here. Purely Lucky, number 9. And then finally, number 10 is New Pass. She is a half to 55. It's all turf all over the place, and she certainly looks well meant for it. Super coat to her, but Tom Bush not necessarily well known for getting his first-time starters to fire out of the box, and she kind of looks that way. She looks like she should benefit from getting a race under her belt in the fitness department. So, guys, we'll see what shakes out here. Interesting way to cap off this card.
Oh, we got a future jockey in the mix as well down there in the paddock with the full gear ready to go.
That is awesome.
Purely Lucky. There is a look at the 9 here. First time out in the Damn Purely Excessive. Never actually tried the grass. She was trained by D. Wayne Lucas, but she has foaled 3 multiple winners on the turf.
In Manhattan, Dan was a freaky type of runner on the turf course. Ran some bang-up races. That was a horse that had some issues. Now in the Todd Pletcher barn, but the Kentucky bred out of Big Brown. This one, the New York bred, that's a half, and Sandy Robbins bred this horse as well, and he keeps her. So that's why I think the 9 is very, very live in here at 7-2.
And, of course, Andy Gabby has the rider on board who brought Sexy back Tuesday night. We'll see if he can bring the nightcap to the winner's circle.
Also gave a fabulous ride to win that narrow photo earlier today. It's interesting with this dam because it felt like the dams produced 4 turf winners out of 8 to try the grass. The early foals seemed to be the better ones, but then, as was pointed out by those guys, Manhattan Dan came along 2 years ago.
Exactly. Manhattan Dan was a multiple stakes winning turf sprinter, and he was pretty fast too. I can remember him when we were working together.
The good old days.
Running down in Florida. So yeah, we'll see what to make of this filly. Now Brad Cox with maiden special weight first time starter sprinting on the turf. He's 3 for 14, a positive ROI. He doesn't run many first time starters sprinting on the turf, but what he does, they're usually well meant.
Brad Cox, if you're not familiar with Brad Cox, you will be familiar with him as time goes on. As Kendrick
wants me to pick him.
Making fun of me outside here. I get heckled by the jockeys. I get put in the tank.
I wonder why.
I know. I used to just heckle him. It's not really fair. The 7 March Express for Todd Pletcher. You know, Todd Pletcher does not have great numbers overall with his 2-year-old firsters and turf sprints, but he did win with one the other day, and that was an open, not a New York bred like this one.
Just 12% from my sample size here of 33 horses. And that's primarily in New York. So yes, not a very strong stat, but this filly is by Shanghai Bobby. The mare never ran on the turf, but she actually loved the tight surface of a sloppy sealed track. But this horse is a half to Harlan's Honor, who won a little turf sprint stake. So just the 3rd start.
I would be a 3/4, I think, right? Because Harlan's Honor was a Harlan's Holiday, I think. I'm assuming. I'm thinking,
I would
so
guess
I'm working on that. I'm working
All right,
on my math.
Figure it out and get
the
back
10
to
New
me.
Pass, who Maggie mentioned, is a half to horse 55, who finished 3rd in our Lake George on opening day. Probably is more distance. I love seeing point of entry, the sire. I don't know if he's going to be proficient at 5.5, but I think keep in mind, these are first-time starters. Just because they're more likely to be more proficient going longer doesn't mean they can't win going shorter in their debuts.
All they need to do is show a little bit of speed and get out of the gate, and that's not always the easiest thing to do from that outermost post position, but I love the pedigree, and point of entry has also already had a turf winner up at Woodbine.
Fans out here trying to get a good look at this group because trying to glean anything you can from a bunch of first-time starters, only a few with experience in this race. Here is the one, and it's the extreme outside post for Rihanna Rhea Dreams for Randy Prasad with Hector Diaz Jr.
At her current 21-to-1 odds.
Carrera Cat, the 2, was 20-to-1 on the morning line, down to 7-to-1 right now. Kendrick Carmouche for trainer John Morrison.
Taking surprising money right now, does draw the rail post position out of a mare who never tried the turf.
Yeah, only foal, though, to try the turf was a multiple winner going long, however. Silverado missed the 3 for Bill Mott. Jose Lezcano aboard.
Worked 10 2/5 at the 2-year-old sale. Datalink the sire provides a lot of turf, but you do wonder if this horse might want more distance.
Codrington, the 4, trained by David Dunk. Manny Franco aboard for Charles Engel.
Experience is always key in these maiden races when you're in a field of primarily first-time starters.
Imperfect Union, speed and backed up in the debut at 6 furlongs on the turf at Belmont for Tom Morley.
The only one who has experience on the turf in his debut, showed speed and ran well enough. I wonder, though, there are probably firsters that are better.
Dylan Davis aboard the 6 Unparalleled for Epona Racing Stable and Dark Horse Racing for trainer Bruce Brown.
A little cold on the tote board, but does have 2 recent turf workouts here at Saratoga to get the wheels turning.
And here's the daughter of Shanghai Bobby for Todd Pletcher and Golconda Stables with Jose Ortiz March Express.
While Todd's strength is not debut turf sprinters, he gets them so ready that I will not be surprised when this one is ready to roll first time.
That's Her, trained by Russell Cash, owned by Joseph Birnbaum and Angel Arroyo aboard.
Russell Cash already has a winner this meet, taking a victory on opening day. She showcases fast workouts on the main track. Maybe she can employ that speed on the turf today.
Yeah, those works at Monmouth. The 9 Purely Lucky for trainer Brad Coxdaughter looking at Lucky. Florent Giroux aboard.
Han, the dam side, has the most turf pedigree of any of the runners here and goes out for an extremely good trainer in Brad Cox.
And Thomas Bush trains the 10 New Pass for Empire Equines with Joel Rosario in the irons.
Nicely bred filly by point of entry, making her a half to 55, who was recently 3rd in the Lake George, but will have to work out a trip from the outermost post position.
The nightcap coming up from Saratoga on this Wednesday afternoon. We'll have it for you, 5.5 on the turf for 2-year-old maiden fillies when we return.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2, MSG Plus, and Altitude Networks. The finale coming up here this 10th at Saratoga, with more on the 2 Carrera Cat, whose sire actually was a Grade 2 winner on the turf here at Saratoga for Bill Mott. Let's go to Maggie.
And Greg, Carrera Cat is one that I was expecting to be a bigger price, and she's actually not. She's 8-1, and she's certainly one that's caught my eye for the pure fact that she looks like a turf sprinting filly. I mean, she's compact, she's built downhill, and she's extremely well muscled. And John Morrison, maybe a trainer who kind of flies under the radar, but he does a great job. He also reaches out for Kendrick Carmouche, and Kendrick is one that likes to be aggressive, and he certainly gave this filly an aggressive warm-up as she galloped away very sweetly in front of me here in the winner's circle and galloped all the way over to the backside. So I'm sure he's trying to get run into her mind. As we'll check in with another one who got an aggressive warm-up that I'm still on the fence if this is really truly going to be her distance in number 3, Silverado Miss. But she was very headstrong as Jose Lascano broke her away from the pony. She looked good out on the track. Once again, I like the way this filly moves. I like her stride. We'll just see if 5.5 suits her or it ends up being a bit too short. Andy?
You know, we'll get to Imperfect Union, but I'm glad Maggie brought up Carrera Cat, the 2, because she's on top of that. This horse is getting bet. I mean, you never know in these races, but with these connections, this horse could be any price whatsoever. Let me tell you something. This horse is a full to a turf winner, not a half. And also, if you look in the second generation of Dam, there's 2 turf winners for you to try, including Class Chris, who won over $500,000. So this horse does have a pedigree. And a good point, Gabby, by Maggie saying this horse could have speed with Kendrick.
Well, it's very interesting because we have the likes of Brad Cox, Tom Bush. We have Todd Pletcher in here. We've got pretty quality trainers in here that can prepare horses at first asking. And this horse is a big underlay, so it's curious to see. And usually, don't you think when we see horses like this get bet the way that this horse is getting bet, they do show speed out of the gate?
Well, yeah, and something else. There's 2 horses that create a carryover in here in the pick 5, the 1 and 2. Now, the 1 is improbable, but the 2 is clearly dangerous here. That was create a carryover. One very smart guy, by the way, used the 8, and that guy's going to get an extra $46,000 if the 8 wins, by the way, because the payout's listed at $103,000, but we guarantee. That's if he bet it through Naira Bets. Now, I don't know if he did, but if he did, if he's smart, he bet it through Naira Bets, and he'll get that extra $46,000. Moving on to the 4-horse Codrington, I have such respect for David Donkin. This horse is taking no money, but this one is a half to a turf winner, but that horse was pretty cheap.
Exactly. Didn't really perform at the highest level, and we see the mare. She was 0 for 7 on the turf. But like we said, Andy, sometimes it just gives horses such an edge that have one race under their belt, and she clearly did not do any running on the dirt. Maybe the surface switch could help her.
What do you think, Paul? Maybe the long shot with the 4, any chance?
I think she is the long shot, and the reason why is maybe a little bit of a hunch play with Goldlakova going into the Hall of Fame. Courageous Cat was a great second to her in the 2009, if I'm not mistaken, Breeders' Cup Mile. I think she'll improve. And you were saying before, too, that David Donk coming in this meet was hot. He's continued with at least a win here. I'm not going to talk you off a 20-1 shot, but I think she is the long shot play in here at that big of a price. You see 9s and 3s are the selections here, and I do think the 3 is a little sneaky, so good report there from Maggie.
Yeah, that one for Bill Mott, Silverado Miss by Data Link, the Claiborne sire out of a Lear fan mare. So there is all kinds of turf pedigree there. It's the first foal out of Petronas Charm. As we get a look here at 2 Carrera Cat.
The dangerous thing about the 2, Johnny Morrison trains his horse for a lot of speed. I think you're going to know early with this 2, and the money on the board's basically saying she's probably quick.
Yeah, and as mentioned before, and we talk about it a lot, Kendrick Carmouche is a send aggressive rider, and Courageous Cat was the winner of the Grade 2 Hall of Fame here at Saratoga back during his running days.
Wow. But, you look at Courageous Cat's crazy. 1 for 49 with his first-time starters. He's such a good turf runner. But, yeah, I mean, the 2 horses by him are the 2 and the 4 in here, and they're long shots. You can see pick 6s are carry over, what Andy was mentioning. 1 or 2 carries over. You're going to have a nice pick 5 carryover for tomorrow.
All right, so this finale coming up. It is now the 9, Purely Lucky, who has become the 5-2 favorite for trainer Brad Cox in here. Again, there is a single live ticket to the 8-horse. So if that handicapper played this late pick 5 through his Naira Bets account, they're alive for an extra $46,000.
Good luck to you.
Pretty amazing.
You're rooting for a filly that's coming from Monmouth, and Russell already has a win at the meet, like Gabby was saying on opening day.
Again, the 1 and 2 would carry over this Naira Bets late pick 5. We will see what happens here in the finale. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown for the load here. Larry Colmus with the nightcap.
Silverado Mist now moving into line along with Purely Lucky, who is the 2-to-1 current favorite. Also coming up to the gate is New Pass, as Silverado Mist just a little bit reluctant to step up. Now goes in. They'll be followed by Codrington and Imperfect Union. And the last two to move into the starting gate will be Unparalleled and Rihanna Rhea Dreams. Unparalleled going in. And Rihanna Rhea Dreams, the long shot up to the outside stall, will be last to load. Steps up and goes in. All in line. They're off. Slow to begin was March Express. Walked out of the gate. It is Unparalleled and New Pass on the outside with early speed from the rail. Silverado Mist is away running in third. Rihanna Rhea Dreams is fourth on the far outside. Imperfect Union follows in fifth. And then comes Carrera Cat down toward the inside. That's her going up on the outside of Purely Lucky. And then it's Codrington and slow starting. March Express is last, 22.59 for the first quarter. Moving around the far turn, here's Silverado Mist. Rushing through on the inside to grab the lead. New Pass is right there. Carrera Cat in behind the leaders. Sits on the rail in third, just a length and a half behind. Imperfect Union comes up on the outside of them. Rihanna Rhea Dreams goes wide, and Codrington is also putting in a bid in behind horses. They're into the final furlong. It is New Pass on the outside. Silverado Mist down toward the inside. Farther out comes Imperfect Union. Carrera Cat fights on between horses. And from dead last, March Express. Oh, March Express is flying right on the wire to get up and win. From last to first, running down New Pass, Codrington and Carrera Cat in 103.07.
This horse got shut off early on in the race, was dead last, and looked like it was not going to be her day today, just an education. Instead, comes from off the pace, last to first to win at 5-1 for Todd Pletcher.
Wow, she was an hour the best in here. So much the best in 103 and flat. Let me go back to the start of this race with Jose Ortiz and watch the beginning that this filly gets off to, and then we'll focus back on the stretch. Watch right here. She sort of breaks flat-footed and not almost dwelting, just sort of standing there. You can see Jose sort of has to urge her a little bit. What I love, he urges her a tiny bit, gets her back into the gate, but her ears are still up. And look how far back she is. And what he does, he gets her back into the race. But the key is after he gets it back in the race, he gets her to settle. The worst move you can make sometimes with a horse like that is to start launching. And he didn't go widest of all. He took a little bit of a gamble, went inside horses, and now watch him swing outside the 4 right here. And then when she's able to stride, she's like, goodbye, see you later. I'm going to win this race regardless what happened at the gate.
When she found daylight, she just took off.
I completely agree. I mean, she got left. We saw it. Gabby and I were watching it down here and like, wow, that's the 7 who got left. And as you say, Paul said, Jose got her to settle, and she really took off. She got a good clean outside run. Kendrick Carmouche in the 2 kind of got himself in trouble, braking a little bit slowly, got into good position when that leader kind of drifted, but then he got shut off trying to come through the stretch. Not saying the 2 was best. The 2 did have some trouble in there. 10 New Pass looked home, Gabby, but I tell you what, this horse with Jose Ortiz, he was just meant.
I was going to say, though, maybe the fact that she didn't break very well might have been a blessing in disguise, Andy, because coming around the turn, we actually did see Unparalleled. We'll go back to the start, and we can see the 2, Carrera Cat actually bobbles a little bit, but mostly impacted by the break was March Express, as she just was very lethargic coming out of the gate. But from there on, we saw the 6, Unparalleled, get a little bit rank, and it created almost a bunching up of horses going into the turn, whereas obviously March Express was just so much in the clear, but she was so much the best in this race.
It seemed like Unparalleled drifted a bit, opened it up for the 2 and 3 to get through, but the winner was best.
Yeah, the crazy part about the race, The 3 horses that broke the worst ran first, third, and fourth. Am I wrong? The 2, 4, and the 7 all broke poorly, guys, and they ran first, third, and fourth.
You're right. You know, I just needed a little more to happen, Paul, and I could have hit my 2-4 exacta box.
I know. You were close.
I feel very close to making a big score. So I think I'm going to come back tomorrow and try again.
March Express for Todd Pletcher, absolutely loaded first time out. Little hesitant at first.
This is
but
one
a
of those,
rocket ship down the lane.
Yeah, it's one of those horses that I think even will surprise Todd, going, wow, 5-1, and she ran like that?
Yeah, look at Jose Ortiz. Woo, look at that after we didn't break.
Yeah.
And actually looked like Mike got caught behind a wall of horses. Very patient ride from Jose Ortiz. Well done. Couple of winners for him this afternoon. He's the meet's leading rider. Taking a break. We'll be back right after this.
Multiple Grade 1 winner First Samurai by Giants Causeway got off to a quick start at stud, siring Grade 1 winners in each of his first 3 crops. His talented son Lee captured the Grade 1 Don Handicap in record time and retired to stud with over $2.3 million in earnings. Sovereign Award nominee Stack Beck captured the Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes and Grade 2 Kennedy Road Stakes, both just to tick off track record times. First Samurai at Claiborne Farm.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
We found Belmont Stakes winner Taprit at Fasig-Tipton, Saratoga. Where will you be in August?
Before Tepin conquered the world, she was a Fasig-Tipton, Saratoga sales graduate. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record-breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Historic Saratoga Racecourse indeed, where this weekend we have the Whitney coming up and Gun Runner going against Travers winner Keen Ice, who beat American Pharoah a couple of years ago. March Express takes the nightcap here, returns $12.40 for the win. Todd Pletcher, I'm sure, did not like at all how this race started, but he had to love how it ended. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
And we were just watching the replay here again in the winner's circle. And Todd, I mean, we were saying that she went into the turn, looked like she was going to get nothing. And then into the turn, it was a completely different story. Or out of it, I should say.
Yeah, sometimes you get fortunate when you don't break well in these type of races. You know there's going to be a lot of speed. I mean, obviously, we didn't want her to break that poorly, but you know, when she put in a big run down the lane.
And this isn't new thing for you of running progeny of horses you campaign, but she is a daughter of Shanghai Bobby. We're seeing his first foals as 2-year-olds. What can you say about them, and what made you think about her on the turf?
Well, we haven't had too many of them. The ones we've seen, they're very good looking. They've been training well. We just felt like she was kind of made like a grass filly, kind of a slenderly made filly, and she'd been working okay on the dirt, but we just kind of had a hunch she might improve on the grass.
And Todd, looking forward to this weekend. You'll send out Keen Ice in the Whitney. He's kind of earned the nickname of the Upset King. Likely not to be that big of a price on Saturday, but how is he, and how do you like the race shaping up for him?
Well, I'm glad to see there's going to be some pace in there. We have a lot of respect for Gun Runner. He's very good, and with an honest pace, Keen Ice is doing really well. He had a big run in the Suburban. We're just hoping he can come back and perform well again, but he's doing great.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Congratulations on the nightcap.
Thank you.
Greg?
Maggie, thank you. Yeah, Keen Ice, going to be intriguing to see what he does after he came back and he beat Shaman Ghost in the Suburban. We'll see him in the Whitney on Saturday. Here's that Naira Bets late pick 5 follow-up payout. $17,281, and that's with an odds-on favorite winning the feature.
Basically a free square, right? And when you looked at the trainers in the last race, you could have played that game and maybe went 3 or 4 deep. It was hard to get to New York Song and La Montagris and Harkness too, but if you got there, man, what a great bet this is. Both pick 5s today, 19,000 and 17,000 here at Saratoga.
Unreal. Well, it's Naira Bets late pick 5 again. If you're the single winning ticket and you play it through Naira Bets each day, $150,000 minimum payout. On Saturdays, $300,000, but you need to play it through Naira Bets to take advantage of that. And the only way to get signed up and started with Naira Bets outside, or to play, I should say, that Naira Bets late pick 5 outside the state of New York is with Naira Bets.
Yeah, and you have the $200 sign-up bonus, and go to NairaBets.com. The promo code PICK5. It's just, you got to get down. Got to get down.
Bet 200, you get 200 in your account. Use that promo code PICK5 to take advantage. Well, we saw a big comeback performance from Carina Mia, and it looks like she has bigger and better things to come now, moving to the Chad Brown barn.
And Chad didn't eliminate her going around 2 turns, right? I mean, we'll see what happens next. She might be a bigger, stronger filly. Maggie's saying that she thought she put on some weight and she might be a little bit better. We'll see what happens. She's got a ton of options. And Chad Brown just got, I like to go in his shed row and just count all the bullets that he has.
You just see star after star after star. How many times do we see him run 1-2 in stakes races? He does it yet again here in the Shine Again this afternoon. And in the feature, Corina Mia getting it done. We are back tomorrow. Do not forget, the Birdstone is the feature on tomorrow's show. Oh, on cue. Mile 3/4 in that 7th running of the Birdstone. In the Shine Again, Corina Mia back to her winning ways after coming out of 7 consecutive Grade 1. She is back in the winner's circle. First time running for Chad Brown, her stablemate going for broke, running 2nd. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you tomorrow.